Hey guys, welcome back to the Open Chest Anime Podcast. I'm your host, the Anime Collector. Joining me, as always, is Rhys2753.
Do you like it's a perfect place?
And FDDM.
2753 as well.
All right.
That joke's getting pretty old. You need some new material.
Yeah. I was gonna say you need some new material. All right. So, I have not opened any of the tabs, but with my 800 megabits per second upload and download, I feel like we can get through this. So I want to remind you guys to like the video, and if you are interested in supporting the Open Chess Anime Podcast, there are numerous ways to do that. Hey, look, all of my downloads at the bottom. Good thing all I'm working on is a thumbnail for a video. If you guys would like to support, you can do so through the OCA Podcast Patreon. What Rekka thinks wants to get on the show. Yeah, hit me up. I can't do it tonight because I've got work in the morning, but we can set something up. Also, thank you for telling me to enjoy my dinner. It was pizza omelets with a cut-up hot dog in it, so it was fantastic.
Pizza omelets?
Yeah, you get pizza, and then the next day the pizza that's left over doesn't taste that good, right? So you cut it up with like culinary scissors into small pieces, and then you make up a bunch of eggs the way that you would for French toast, and you stick the pizza in it instead of like toast, right? And then you make an omelet with like the whole concoction, and it tastes really good. Anyway, so yeah,
I don't recognize this guy, this user.
I think he might have actually commented on something once before. I vaguely remember him.
Well, like I said, if you want to reach out to us during the week, our social media is in the description. We can set something up.
Join our Discord.
Yeah, that would be another good way. Anyway, so supporting the podcast, you can do so through the Open Chess Anime Podcast Patreon. There are other ways in the description for affiliate links regarding Amazon and Right Stuff and all that. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so with the Anime Collector Patreon. And there's also Stealth Weeb, where you can buy awesome merch that helps.
Not everything shown here, of course.
Well, not everything, yeah, but somebody actually bought this, so I was really surprised. I salute you, person. Okay. Yeah, you can reach
that's
me
his other account
via Discord or Twitter. Probably Twitter. My DMs are open. Anyway, I think actually I kind of vaguely remember you reached out like months ago, and I was in the busy season, I was in the busy portion of the month, which is what I'm about to enter again. But then at the end of the month, I told you that work lightens up. Like this is actually, I just had like 9 days off in a row just now. This is the end of it though. Anyway, we'll set something up. All right, so jumping in. Let's talk about the Olympics. Have you guys been watching the Olympics at all?
No.
Nope.
So, you guys remember...
Is that all the Olympics?
Police arrests Olympics employee for possibly raping woman. I'm just setting the stage. You'll recall his defense was she was into it, right? So, hey, Anime Back When, I just got your I got a notification from you. I'm going to follow you back right now so that. All right, my DMs are open. Cool. All right, so I'm just setting the stage here about the Olympics. You recall that that the Olympics have been going on in Tokyo, and it's been off to a great start with rape, and there was I think it was the Nigerian
Had
team.
your kids, had your wife, they're raping everybody out here.
You recall there was, I think it was the Nigerian bodybuilder or maybe it was Uzbekistan, I think it was, who decided to flee, and because he didn't want to move, he didn't want to go back to Nigeria or wherever it was. Well, we've also got here, protected again and again, how a fencer made it to the Tokyo Olympics despite sexual assault allegations. We're off to a great start, Olympics. Also, Algerian judoka, that's somebody who practices judo, Fethi Noreen, suspended and sent home for withdrawing to avoid Israeli. The International Judo Federation suspended an Algerian judoka and his coach for withdrawing from the Tokyo Olympics before his event started, after the draw set him on a course for a match against an Israeli. They gave individual statements to the media announcing their withdrawal from the competition to avoid meeting an Israeli athlete during the event. Noreen told Algerian media that his political support for the Palestinian cause made it impossible for him to compete against Israeli Tohar Butbol. That is an unfortunate name. It is not the first time that Noreen has withdrawn from competition to avoid facing an Israeli opponent. He pulled out of the 2019 World Championship in Tokyo for the same reason. Athletes from other countries, including Iran and Egypt, have also in the past refused to compete against Israelis. So there you go. Off to a great start.
Why bother even compete if you don't want to compete against people?
Well, the thing I don't understand is if you have political support for the Palestinian cause, which I think is a respectable. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that so that it doesn't sound like I'm supporting Hamas. If you are sensitive to the plight of the Palestinians who have been bombed out of their homes after the falling of World War II, and their land diminished greatly over time, then why would you not want to beat the shit out of another opponent from Israel? Right? I don't know. It seems weird. It seems weird that Israel's taken all these wins just for being so undesirable that nobody wants to compete against them. I joke. Anyway, moving on. So here are the working conditions as a contractor for the Olympics. So this person says, I'm a contractor working for the Olympics and have been for a couple of months. I wanted to share what is currently going on for us. I will try to answer as many questions as I can, blah, blah, blah. I would like to start by saying the people I work with, both contractors and from the IOC, have been wonderful, and the only reason I enjoy work. However, the list of positives ends there. There are no COVID-19 protocols being implemented. When I joined, I was told the temperature check and social distance would be used. There are no temperature checks, and many people, 20 to 30 per room, are working in close proximity to each other. Only upper, middle, and higher position contractors were given the COVID-19 vaccine. The majority of contractors do not have it and have been within close proximity of several of the Olympic teams like Poland, Netherlands, and the USA. We were told we would only receive $50 for a commute a month. Most companies in Japan pay for the full cost of commute. Only after several of us demanding more were we able to raise it to $200 a month. For comparison, my cost a month is $600. So I guess largely because of the fact that Japan doesn't have many automobiles on the road, people take taxis and whatnot, especially because you got to get to this type of work super early, so the trains aren't running and all that sort of thing. So continuing, when I started, I was told our hours would be 900 or 9 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. However, our new hours are 5 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. and 3 o'clock p.m. to 1 a.m. In Japan, the trains don't run from 1 to 5. So we have to either take a taxi to work or stay in a hotel. If we take a taxi, we have to pay ourselves and wait up to 50 days to be reimbursed, causing us to incur a cost of upwards of $5,000. If we stay in a hotel, we are asked not to go home between working days. And if we do, they will not pay for our commute. They also do not provide any meals, and we must incur these costs while staying at a hotel. They also will not pay for laundry. The IOC member we work along with are working 4 days on, then 2 days off. However, you've got something wrong with your math there. However, I'm working 6 days on, 1 day off. The area we work in is in a secure area and requires a passcode to enter, but only IOC members are given it. Since we work in the same room with roughly 30 plus people, we have to ask people on the app line to come and open the door for us while everyone else has the passcode, including a sushi chef who does not work in the security area. Other sections receive bentos or lunch for free while at work, but our section does not. Only if the other people we work with have leftovers are we able to get some. Lastly, all members of the IOC, be they volunteers or staff, have received special Olympic-related gear: shirts, pants, jacket, a bag. However, contractors have not. So while at work, we are visibly dressed different from our coworkers. I look promisingly at the Olympics and wish all the athletes the best. After the way I've been treated, I can't help but feel a bit of anger at how we are treated every time I see news about the Olympics. So there you go. That's how the Olympic contractors have been treated. You know what? Hold on, I'm downloading. Quit. There we go. Okay. So also, Tokyo Aquatic Center, a symbol of poor planning, gluttonous spending, and unfortunate timing. So effectively, Tokyo was chosen as the location for this last year / this year's Olympics because it already had enough facilities. They didn't need to build more. So instead, they have done a ton of projects, and it seems like there's a lot of corruption going on regarding awarding family members and whatnot. I am assuming the bid contracts to work on these buildings. So continuing, Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee to review opening ceremony that's scheduled for tomorrow night. So this is already passed by this time, but mere days before the 2020 Tokyo Olympics were set to kick off on the 23rd of July, musician Keigo Ayamada's shady past made the news and resulted in his resignation from the opening ceremony. Since then, the media smelled blood in the water and dug up some more dirt on the opening ceremony's director, Kentaro Kobayashi, over a past joke he made involving the Holocaust. Now, I've got... this is the guy, Cornelius. That's the Omada guy, Oyamada, Keigo Oyamada. So I'm going to read this real quick. Actually, I'm going to read this one first. So this is the guy who made a weird Holocaust joke, I guess. So they said, at this point, it's getting hard to not watch the ceremony and think about how it was made in part by a guy who fed feces to a disabled kid and a guy who joked about the Holocaust on a children's TV show. A online commenter had pointed out they even had an extra year to get all this straight, and they still failed. So let's hear about Cornelius / Oyamada here. He said, it says here, old interviews with magazines Rockin' on Japan in 1994 and Quick Japan in 1995 resurfaced, in which Oyamada admitted to bullying classmates of Korean descent and with disabilities such as Down syndrome. It wasn't lightweight stuff either. The numerous past acts involved forcing people to eat feces, strip naked, and sexual assault, all continuing from elementary school to high school. Moreover, Oyamada didn't come off as remorseful at all during the interview and could have been said to be boasting about the offenses. After the story broke, Oyamada publicly apologized for his past and said that he would like to find the victimized classmates to make amends with them personally. The JOC felt this was sufficient and announced that they would keep him on board. However, the public was less than moved and continued to put increasing pressure on the games to have Oyamada removed. As a result, he resigned on the 20th of July, 3 days before the opening ceremony. The ripples appear to be spreading beyond his Olympic work too, because video interviews Oyamada did with Sony about their Walkman digital audio player were suddenly taken offline altogether. Oyamada was also in charge of the music for the kids' educational programs Design A and Japangal on Japan's public broadcaster NHK. However, on the day of his resignation, neither show aired, and NHK is undecided on what to do with them from here on out. Somebody had this to say. Ironic that his victims are probably traumatized somewhere, and the bully is representing the Paralympics. What Oyama had done is about as heinous as it gets, and standard apologies don't seem enough to undo the years of abuse he inflicted on others. But as a one-time fan of Cornelius from back in the day, I'd like to at least suggest a possible way for him to start making amends. He should eat feces live on stage at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. So there you go. So from what I've heard, people have speculated that this guy, because this news had come out from ages ago, they speculate that him resigning was a way to just get out of the Olympic ceremony because it's all going tits up, and that like he really had no reason to resign because the stuff was so old, everybody had basically already knew about it, right? Now, continuing, this person said, Sugiyama Koichi, whose music is likely to be used in the opening ceremony of the Olympics, according to the Japanese media, is an infamous comfort woman and Nanking Massacre denier, and a homophobic ultra-nationalist. If it's true, what an awful decision once again. Sugiyama Koichi is one of the intellectuals who were involved in the infamous comfort women denier ads, The Facts from 2007. And yes, we remember The Facts from 2012. So I just find this to be a hilarious shit show, where, again, it seems like they can't be satisfied with any of the choices, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it's off to a pretty swell start.
Right? So this person said, following several controversial choices of composers, the Tokyo Olympics make amends by announcing that the opening ceremony music will be replaced by a reading of the script for the last episode of Angel Cop. Right? Just as a dig. I don't know if anybody knows Angel Cop, but it's a story about the protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is where the Jewish conspiracy comes from, so to speak. Anyway. So here's what the original opening ceremony was supposed to be. So the plan was to have the Akira motorcycle ride into the stadium with Neo Tokyo vibes, display some footage from the 1964 Olympics, which is the last time it was in Japan. Then cut to Naomi Watanabe asking, "Ready?" which cues the dancers to start performing on stages shaped in the 5 continents and athletes to march between them. Mario, with other CGI characters, showcase each Olympic game, and the finale is, of course, the lighting of the flame plus some fireworks. So you guys will recall that Naomi Watanabe, there was, before the Olympics even started, there was that controversy where that guy had to resign for saying she should dress up as a limp pig. Do you remember that?
How could I forget?
Right. So, also, Japan's Olympic organizers lied about its weather, and now the athletes are paying the price. Oh, yeah, they aren't doing so well. Who knew Tokyo summers were anything but cool? So, yeah, people are collapsing and fainting. So, yeah, it's been great. Here's an English sign at the Tokyo Olympics that turned out to be hilariously accurate. This is why I usually I load the tabs ahead of time. When coffee is all gone, it's over.
All right.
All right. The gigantic Gundam steals the show at the Tokyo Olympics triathlon. So I'm not going to read this, but this seemed, I just skimmed it and I looked at the video and it's pretty funny because, you know, when there's like a bicycle race and you've got a bunch of different camera angles, because you have to film it as it's happening, right? So you get the camera angle of them coming around the bend and stuff. The camera angles they have are, look at how ridiculous this is. We've got an incredible shot of the Gundam, and here's the bicyclist way in the background. Right? It's like, this is such a horrible angle for it. It froze. There goes my good internet. It's funny because there's more. Like it's queued up in like every angle around this area is just, it's showing the Gundam instead of the race, pretty much. Like all over the place.
I'd do that too, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it gets even funnier because this happened you have to argue this happened on purpose, right? I mean, it's queued up perfectly. Anyway, so look at this one, though. Fish Wholesalers Headquarters crashes Tokyo Olympic medal ceremony. Hoshui gets gold in photobombing. Hoshui is a wholesaler and distributor of seafood based in Tokyo that was founded in 1945, and that's all I know, unfortunately. I'd research more, but I haven't been able to access the company's website for days now. Apparently, I'm one of thousands of people trying to learn more about Hoshui recently. Why? Because their company is a freaking billboard, right? The Olympics, gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal ceremony is happening, and this thing is like perfectly in each shot, right? Like, just you can't ignore it. So that's pretty funny. Also, a whole slew of anime music has been playing at the Olympics, including the first opening to Attack on Titan. The Demon Slayer opening. I think that's the opening. Gurenge. They also had Slam Dunks, Kimigaski da Tosakebitai, Hikari Ace from Haikyuu, Ultrasaurus Awakens theme from Zoid's Chaotic Century, and Ghost in the Shell has the Kugutsu Uta Ura Mite Chiru. Is that the Song of the Birth or whatever that was? Anyway, you know it. Anyway, moving on. So now we're gonna read. I'll read this one in a second. Let's do some. God damn it.
I want to see the freaking. I want to see like all the athletes, the track athletes, dressed as Pikachu's, and having them have a like the 50-meter dash or 100, wearing those things.
So
I'm down all over each other.
I'm of the mindset that we should not. I think it's wrong to host the Olympics and have rules surrounding things like steroids. I think that people should be roided out of their minds. I want to see the limit of the human condition, right? I want to see people competing with so many steroids, like robotic limbs. I want to see it go crazy. I haven't watched the Olympics in years, but that would definitely
be way more entertaining.
That'd be hilarious.
So anyway, let me address some of the the comments here. Yes, I do remember. Yes, I did get evicted. Yeah, so I'm still in the temporary home. Things are kind of changing up a little bit. Wow, my hair looks really bad like that. What is this big chunk of hair hanging out right on top? All right, so things have improved a little bit, but my collection is still in the storage unit. So if the amount of time it took between the last time we talked and now happened again, I might have it out and like set up again. But I'm just giving you a heads up that all my stuff is still in storage. Which reminds me, I have a pickup that I left upstairs. And yeah, I got your message. I'm following you on Twitter now. We can DM later. Did we talk about the Mad Okra 4 teaser? No,
He means Madoka.
I don't think that's in the. I don't think that's in the.
I have a question. Because we announced there was an announcement that we did cover that's like, oh, there's a fourth thing coming, but I don't know if it's specifically the teaser that he's talking about. Like, oh, a new teaser just dropped this week or something.
I don't think so. It's just the one that.
I think I shared.
I know I shared a picture showing like the freaking long title of it.
Right.
In our chats.
Is Magia Record part of Madoka?
Yeah, it's like a spin-off.
I think so.
Because this looked freaking incredible. I'm not screen sharing. That's great. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. How is my...
Yeah,
my
you're
internet?
only at 2 terabytes a second now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Let's see.
Document.
It's just Twitter videos, apparently.
First episode.
Maybe it detected you were streaming and then the DRM kicked in and it's like, pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks freaking hell. All right, I'm just gonna copy it and paste it. You guys can check it out.
Man, they're sure putting out slideshows nowadays.
Apparently,
Anyway,
the reason the first episode aired like this week was the
Mhm.
first 3 weeks of July were recaps of the first 12 episodes season.
Oh, really?
3 episodes of recaps.
Wow.
I don't know if Funimation stream those or not, but I know that they exist.
Yeah, so I haven't looked at the trailer yet, but that thing I just put in the chat is pretty awesome. You guys should check it out. Hey, eCashers here, Legendary Anime JP fan 2. How's it going? Hopefully Olympics coming to Korea. I think, well, I mean it's not going to
North Korea.
it's not going to just switch over to Korea for this Olympics, but I think next Olympics is it in Spain?
I think the next one is in like Brisbane, Australia.
Yeah, Australia. If there's any Australia left after their freaking dictatorship starting right now.
Oh god.
Don't worry, we'll talk about the Pikachu thing in a minute. Oh yeah, give a meth head. Yes, I approve. I want to. That's a great way. Yeah, we train our athletes, we get them hooked on a drug, and then we starve them of it, and then we promise that if you get the gold, you get as much as you want. I like this strategy. Yep. And we've now reached into the femtobytes a second. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. TV audience in Japan. Surprised to see Pikachu and Raichu as members of the U.S. Olympic team. Siblings look to electrify the badminton competition at the Tokyo Olympics. Oh, of course I didn't let the images load. I'm going to pretend like my dog's not barking. Come on. Come on. Come on, images. Okay, so the way that you do this is you turn off shields on Brave. Then you let them load. This is what I do for you folks. This is what I do for you folks when I actually have all the tabs open already. And then you got to turn it back on. And then you got to scroll down and make sure that they stayed loaded while you wait for the tweets to come back in. There we go. All right, we're good. Okay, so part of what makes the Olympics special is that it's an opportunity for sports that might not otherwise attract a worldwide audience to shine on a global stage. For example, though Japanese athletes Takeshi Kimura and Keigo Sonoda are very good at what they do, their sport, badminton, isn't one which the top stars are household names in most countries. Okay. That's true. I mean, I can't think of a single badminton player, and I've already forgotten the names of the guys I just read. So when Japanese TV viewers tuned in for the pairs doubles match on Monday morning, one of the first things they probably did was check the graphic in the corner of the screen where Kimura and Sonoda were written. Naturally, their eyes then came to the names of their American opponents, which seemed startlingly familiar to many people in Japan, even if they never watched a badminton match before in their life. Representing the U.S. in the match were brothers Philip and Ryan Chu. As is often done with non-Japanese names, Chu was written with the phonetic Japanese script called katakana, rendered like this, right? Chu. However, since the brothers Chu obviously share a surname, the broadcaster needed some additional information to differentiate between the two in the on-screen graphic. Writing out their full names in katakana would have taken up a lot of extra space, so the TV crew decided instead to add their given name initials. In Japanese writing, though, there's no way to write just P or R, since those consonants always have to be followed by a vowel in the Japanese language. So in the end, they went with a mix, using the English-Latin P and R, following them both with Chu, as can be seen in the top left of the screen, and that's what had people in Japan doing a double take, right? So P-Chu, R-Chu. Why? Because as mentioned above, katakana is a phonetic writing system. That means Chu isn't just how you write Chu, but also how you write the identically pronounced Chu. In other words, for many Japanese people, when they saw Pichu and Archu, their immediate interpretation wasn't Pichu and Archu, but Pichu, okay, yes, and Archu. And in a country where Pokemon is an ever-present cultural phenomenon, their minds went straight to Pikachu and Raichu.
Or just Pichu.
What about
Right,
Pichu?
well, yeah. Touche. The unexpected pseudo-presence of 2 electric-type Pokemon at the Tokyo Olympics, not as mascots, but as competitors, sent a shockwave of chuckles through Japanese Twitter, where comments included, "Can't see it as anything other than Pikachu and Raichu. Whoa, when did Pikachu and Raichu form a badminton pair? Pikachu and Raichu are always among the top contenders. Sonoda and Kimura are taking on Pikachu and Raichu in men's badminton. Wait, shouldn't Pikachu and Raichu be playing against, like, Slowbro and Pidgeotto instead?" One commenter even managed to track down artwork of the 2 Pokemon species actually playing badminton. Holy shit. The match ended in a decisive victory for Kimura and Sonoda, who won both games by a wide margin. But while Philip and Ryan didn't leave with the victory, a whole lot of Japanese people will now definitely remember their last name. Right. It's a hard one to remember, too. Okay. All right. So there we are. Oh, I've got a follow-up article real quick. You guys remember Kadokawa? The president decided, I think we need to start talking about censoring manga. And then Kadokawa was like, whoa, that guy is fired or whatever. Right now, he just got his pay cut. Anyway, so this is just a little bit more context to what was going on. So it says here, on July 21st, Natsuno took part in a conversation on Abema TV about whether photos of gravure idols, essentially bikini models, were appropriate in manga magazines targeting boys and men. His comments, however, focused on the prevalence of extreme sexual content in manga and how he thought publishing standards need to be reevaluated in this digital age. He referenced the fact that many manga wouldn't pass the standards at Google or Apple. Right. So the context of it was they were specifically talking about, is it okay for kids to be looking at pinups, like bikini pinups in manga magazines, right? Which you'll recall if you watch our YouTube short or the TikTok about Kentaro Miura, the Young Animal, when we bring up Young Animal, the magazine, all those covers are from Young Animal. And you would be hard-pressed to know that it was a manga magazine because it's a bunch of skimpily dressed women, like live women, not manga. So Kadokawa followed up with a news release on July 27th stating that while Natsuno's remarks were made in an individual capacity, they were inappropriate in light of his position within the company and do not reflect any future courses of action. Natsuno is now, quote, deeply reflecting and will take a 20% cut in pay for 3 months from August through October. Natsuno also apologized over Twitter for making viewers of the TV program uncomfortable by using words such as aho, or idiot, and kuso, or damn, shit, right? Regardless of his public apology, many net users remained unconvinced that Natsuno's remarks don't represent his true intentions and are calling for him to resign. I would. I think he should resign. Anyway, do you guys have any pickups?
No. It's been like, what, the weekend since the last one?
All right. I will probably save mine for next time, though, then. All right, so...
spoiler warning, I probably won't have one next week either.
Okay, I don't want to run upstairs and get mine.
I was hoping to read the manga and find that out, Rhys. How dare you spoil?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Yes, he was financial seppuku. I like the way you think. Yeah, he was only president for 1 day less than a month before he made the comments. Yeah. So Comiket 99 schedules itself for December 30th and 31st. So Japan is pretty convinced that they aren't going to have any issues with the coronavirus going forward, even though things have not gone swimmingly since. Well, look, let me rephrase that. Cases are up, but as is natural with viruses, they are more contagious and less lethal. Therefore, at this point, it's like getting a common cold, and it doesn't fucking matter if cases go up, because the vast majority of people are already surviving it, and now we've got an extra 0.01 on that 99.9% survival rate or whatever we were at. So anyway, but they're expecting to open up Comiket because they've already had other doujinshi conventions that are smaller in March that have already gone through. So Comiket's coming back. It's going to be a big site again. Guess I don't have a picture of big site because I used the wrong article. Whatever, that's it. Super Raya Productions and Toei Animation's new CG anime project Kaiju Decode releases 2 trailers. So we talked, 2 teasers. So we talked about this previously. A story between kaiju and a girl. And we thought, oh, that's going to be hilarious. No, crap. It's crap. Apparently, it is a VR experience that you can experience from a third-person perspective or the first-person perspective of 2 characters. Allow me to show you the thrilling thing you're going to get to experience. So you can experience it. This shitty-ass, bad... Jesus Christ.
Emphasis on
bad
shitty
Jesus
ass bad.
Christ.
Wow. I think we can cut AC down from his high horsepower.
There we go. So you can view it from this angle. This is the default, the audience's perspective, or you can view it from the perspective
you're in a
of
video
the girl.
game cutscene.
Yes.
Oh shit!
Even worse than that.
Did we? We forgot to link the thing.
Oh, fired. No wonder there's only.
All right, fired. So carrying on.
Oh wow. He took the initiative to fire you.
Could you guys hear me during that time?
No. Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay, anyway. So you see it from the third. Well, there goes Rhys.
What?
Rhys just cucked himself.
Wow.
Serves him right.
I'm gonna get cucked next for some reason. Just watch.
It looks like a slightly more advanced VR chat clip. Yeah, it looks bad. You are extremely happy with Miku scenes. I mean, I am indifferent about Miku scenes. Anyway, Rhys is trying to get back in. I see him devices not connecting. Anyway, so you see it. There you go.
Whoa.
Oh. Hello,
double
Rhys
ganger.
and double Rhys. I mean, FDM and double FDDM.
Hold up.
Does that mean I have double DD?
I don't want to call this an AC sandwich.
Call it a what?
An AC sandwich.
Anyway, back to this. You can figure that out. As I was saying, so you can either view it from the third-person perspective here, or you can see it from the perspective of the girl. Literally just means a camera is put where her head is, or the monster. That's it. That's all this teases, and it looks awful. Moving on. Funimation is going to implement trigger warnings for, what is it, the case study of Vanitas? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
For that show's underwhelming violence. So the ever-questionable Funimation has implemented a trigger warning for the latest 5th airing of the case. I'm pretty sure it's called the case study of Vanitas.
Yep.
For the 5th airing of the for the latest 5th airing of the case study of Vanitas. A rather baffling decision, as the episode merely contains some rather underwhelming violence and decapitation that pales in comparison to other shows.
I'm sure when they aired When They Cry, I guess it was so tame they didn't need a warning.
Right?
They knew what they were getting into.
There may or may not be When They Cry images at the bottom of this article to illustrate a point. The episode contained relatively young characters being murdered and decapitated, with the only really graphic moments being beheadings, though any individual who watches anime frequently will admit that the violence is nowhere near as bad in comparison to shows like Demon Slayer and Higurashi's newest series. The trigger warning that appeared at the start of the 5th episode of the case study of Vanitas says, this episode contains scenes of violence that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. And then in other languages, it also says that. I thought there was going to be more.
Fine.
So, the most graphic moments for the episodes. Here you go. Let's see if I can just... That girl lost her head. That kid got
out of
shot.
his blood. That looks kind of funny.
Tell me he kicks him.
Oh, he's got the evil grin. He must be evil.
I'm glad they gave me the warning. I wouldn't want my kids to see this.
I'm horrified.
Okay, hold on.
There we go. There's Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the following far worse gore from Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer and Higurashi no Nakakoro ni Go. So here's Demon Slayer. And here's Higurashi.
Oh.
Oh, my.
Well, I'm glad they're bringing back the traditional gore.
Yeah, I was going to say, apparently Rika has an abortion.
Oh, God.
So here's a summary.
Abortion gone wrong, gone sexual.
Gross. So here's a... I'm just going to keep scrolling down. There we go. Here's a summary of the series. There once lived a vampire known as Vanitas, hated by his own kind for being born under a blue full moon. How dare he? As most arise on the night of a crimson one. Afraid and alone, he created the Book of Vanitas, a cursed grimoire that would one day take his vengeance on all vampires. This is how the story goes, at least. Vanitas no Carte, or the case study of Vanitas, follows Noe, a young man traveling aboard an airship in 19th century Paris with one goal in mind: to find the Book of Vanitas for no reason. A sudden vampire attack leads him to meet the enigmatic Vanitas, a doctor who specializes in vampires and, much to Noe's surprise, a completely ordinary human. The mysterious doctor has inherited both the name and the infamous text from the Vanitas of legend, using the grimoire to heal his patients. But behind his kind demeanor lies something a bit more sinister. Okay, well, that was a terrible thing to read. Anyway, critics might find such a trigger warning to have serious implications about the future of anime for the West, at least. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Yes. By the way, Rhys, can you send the invite to the podcast guest channel?
You're like 3 minutes late.
Oh, okay, cool. Very good.
Which is why I accidentally muted myself, because I didn't open a new tab before I clicked Discord.
Oh, I see.
You don't have the desktop app of Discord?
No.
Double D. Nah, wow, yes. Funimation bitches need to go watch some real violent anime, right? Don't let them air Berserk Golden Age.
I think that was the CG thing you were talking about. Oh no, maybe he's talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was because he knew that Grammar Nazi Daddy would have been mad.
Yep.
As I just finished K&K last night, this is nothing. Is K&K
Keep going.
Yokai no Kanata?
Nope. Kara no Kyokai.
Oh.
The Garden of Sinners.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you're talking about Elfen Lied?
Elfen Lied, like, a lot of people remember it being way worse than... I mean, I'm not saying that, it's actually really tame, but, I mean, it aged in a way that it's, like, there's a lot worse stuff.
I think the thing that was more shocking about Elfen Lied is the fact that
there's
she's
titties and violence at
once. Poor puppy.
Yeah.
But the trigger warning isn't for titties, so...
So, Toho distributed 7 anime films that surpassed a 1 billion yen mark in the first half of 2021. So, in 2021, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time earned 10.23 billion yen. Detective Conan the Scarlet Bullet earned 7.47 billion yen. Shin Kaishaku Sangokushi, whatever the fuck that is, earned 4.03. Stand By Me Doraemon, 2.78. Popelli of Chimney Town, 2.41. The Promised Neverland, that's a live action one, 2.03. Pokemon the Movie, The Secrets of the Jungle, 2.02. Character, whatever the fuck that is, 1.47. Monster Hunter, I'm guessing that's the live action Mila Jovovich one, 1.25. Detective Conan the Scarlet Alibi, 1.24. And Okusama wa Toriatsuki Chui, 1.19. And then in 2020, they did Demon Slayer, 40.32 billion. Hey, Lance.
Hey, man, what's up?
And Sumi no Koei, or Koei's Voice, 1.24 billion. So that was interesting. I'm sure you enjoyed hearing all that. Moving on. All right, this is more interesting to me. A Japanese train station featured in Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 changed its names to be in line with the anime film.
Oh, nice.
So, the signboards were changed by a member of the staff who is an Eva fan. Be warned, this news article contains pretty massive spoilers. God damn it.
Oh, skip it.
Well, let's not.
Well, I guess we'll throw this in the come back to after we do this as a watch club.
Wait, who the hell hasn't watched Evangelion? Never mind.
It's for the newest movie.
Oh, okay, my bad. Never mind.
New 02 based Digimon anime film announced with Kizuna staff. So 02 from
I imagine this means it's a
what's
a
that?
movie
Darling
for
in the
the
Franxx.
second
Damn it, that
season.
joke didn't land. What's up? It's the second season, right? Or is that what it's going to be?
Like,
Because none of these characters are
No, that's a different thing.
Davis. Well, I recognize Terriermon, right?
Well,
So
here,
is it
I'll
supposed
tell
to
you
be-
what it is. So,
That's-
when they say O2, it's probably referring to the second season. So, it's like, oh, it's going to have Davis and everything as you'd expect. Now, that Ghost game thing is a separate project. That's
It's
getting
a new
TV
TV
anime.
series, like
Yes.
whatever season 6 or
Okay, it
some
says-
bullshit.
It says 2 new Digimon anime projects were announced. One is a brand new TV anime for fall called Digimon Ghost Game, and an O2 inspired anime film from the creative team behind Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna. A visual for each project was released, along with a small teaser trailer for O2 and character art of the lead Digimon in Digimon Ghost Game.
I watched the teaser trailer, and it's unbelievably vague. And all I got out of it was it seems like Willis 2.0 with Gummymon 2.0,
God.
which
Yeah.
that's the the Japanese name for him, Gummymon, or whatever. But Kokomon, that's what he was called in the movie, wasn't he?
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
It's
yeah,
like
Kokomon and
Kokomon
Terriermon.
2.0. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. But whatever, we'll see what it is.
All right. In other Digimon news that shouldn't be in the theater release news section, Recent Era says a Digimon Tamers live reading devolves into far-right talking points. So I have
Now,
not read this
granted,
yet. I
Reset
can't
Era
wait.
is a
Cancer?
turbo woke whatever
Yeah.
outlet.
So right-wing
so,
literally just means used
Something they disagree
masculine
with.
pronouns, right?
So,
So recently-
effectively what this is, that's a fan translation, the disclaimer, and it says, warning, there's far-right politics in this. But if you watch the video, these people are actually saying like some of the things that are translated. That's like actually you can like play a bit of the video. I don't know if it's going to copyright you or anything, but it's just
Probably.
it's just really funny that this is Digimon. But they're the quote. I don't know. The activists are.
Oh, they
trying
are
to
saying
cancel.
cancel culture.
Yeah,
Cancel culture, like in Japanese.
exactly. So
That's
it's like
hilarious.
that's kind of funny, but because I found out about this from the Quarterings video, and he's like,
hilarious.
"What's the problem with it?" And I'm like, I mean, as much as I don't think it's worth canceling over, I think it's really kind of cringe and stupid to involve politics in something like this. Is for the third season, like a reading. It's like, do you remember anything explicitly, relating to these topics? No, I don't anyway. So I just think it's unnecessary to be in, quote, a kid's show. That's it, really. It is really funny, though.
It is funny. I thought there was going to be a lot more to it.
Because basically, what they're denouncing cancel culture and political correct over political.
I know, and everybody's like, "I feel attacked." Right?
Basically, well, it's
like
funny because
literally all they're saying is political.
Reset Era is just confirming what they're saying.
Cancel culture, and everybody's like, "That's mean."
Cancel culture is the name of their attack.
Able to call us out like that.
Their attack is called cancel culture or whatever it is. But yeah, ironically, Reset Era is fulfilling the prophecy that they're talking about and trying to cancel cancel culture.
That's funny. Well, if you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine.
All right.
All right, so
I'm glad to know that. I'll keep that in mind for when I finally take you down. Okay.
So speaking of cancel culture and stuff that's blown way out of proportion, I recently watched the Pursuit of Hare Mouse Treasure.
Serious?
Yes.
That's the one that they had to put
the trigger warning.
Trigger warning. I was like, okay, so the dude's a cross-dresser. He has a voice changer to make his voice really high, and that's it.
Yeah. He has a voice changer.
Yeah, he had a little voice changer in his mouth.
Now, is it because
he made his voice high on purpose?
Yes.
Did he want to like identify as a female? And he's like, I need this voice changer to help pursue.
I didn't see anything about that. I mean, you just said that he you changed the color of your lipstick. Like he had like the cross-dressing Nazis were.
Yeah, honestly, I felt like the purpose of the character was that we made a character who is not only a Nazi, but in order to take it a step further, he also has some weird fetish going on with his cross-dressing, you know? In that was supposed to make him even more off-putting or whatever. And now people are like, what? I like cross-dressing? I'm attacked, right? You know, kind of thing.
They're like, cross-dressers are the minority and they're a protected class. You can't make fun of them or anything like that.
Damn, if only they had made him a furry.
No, for real.
I mean, like the dude didn't show up until like almost halfway through the damn movie.
That would instantly make any making the villain a furry would instantly make them more hateable. So I can agree with that.
Oh God! All right.
So Remake Our Life anime pays tribute to Haruhi with a cute collab art. So there's the collab art, and apparently
I can't remember which like the 6, 7, and 8 light novel covers had Haruhi, Mikuru, and Yuki do that pose.
So in this episode of the show, they sing "God Only Knows" or "God Knows." What is it called?
God knows.
I love that song.
Yeah, God knows. Yeah.
Which is
I
from
remember that's what it's called, and at least that's what we called it in English when I was talking about it.
The episode where she's sings in the Bunny Girls.
Yes,
outfit.
and and fucking Nagato plays a guitar like a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good lord. Continue.
So anyway, not that you can hear any of it, but it happens in this episode. So there you go. Moving on.
Just use your imagination, guys.
Oh, suddenly Egyptian God. Short form TV anime returns for season 2. So this is an anime that exists. Right?
One turn raw.
Anubis, Noon, Horus, Sobek, Winnet, Ra, Apit, Sata, Otter. There's a god called Otter. Set, Baset, and Thoth. Okay, moving on. Aharen Sanwa, what is it called? It's Hakaranai, which is Aharen is unmeasurable. Unmeasurable. It gets too close for comfort. So it's getting a TV anime adaptation. It's a romantic comedy about a girl who has difficulty communicating and a classmate that grows close to her. So seems like it's going to be adorable.
Are you sure that's a girl?
It might not be.
That little white bulb tells me otherwise.
That's what I thought too.
They're wearing a skirt though, so maybe it's the crossdresser from Lupin.
Well,
Who knows? It might be Hideyoshi.
it says about a girl who has difficulty communicating with a classmate that grows close to her. So I don't know. You tell me. Moving on. Police in a Pod comedy manga gets a TV anime in 2022. I hate this girl's eyes. So when you look at a person's eyes, you will almost never, ever see the white all the way around a person's eyes. Oh, I'm gonna pull up a Google image search.
That's only when they have their like open eye expression of shock or something.
So, yes, correct. So people's eyes are, you may see below it. Usually it's going to be more like this, right? You might see below it, but the top is almost always going to be covered, at least to some degree. Oftentimes almost half, like this. This is what people's eyes usually look like. Now, when you look at anime eyes,
What?
What? Are you telling me the anime eyes can't be different?
The suspense is killing me, man. What about their eyes?
when you look at anime eyes, they're drawn the same way, right? Where they're going to be covered up, you know?
Despite being
Some
larger, they're still
Right.
using
Being like the size of the face of the
proper,
character?
relatively proper proportions.
Right. So like this one right here, you see a very, very thin line underneath, but it's so subtle that it's not jarring the way that this makes her look like she's about to stab someone and steal their drug money. Right? So anyway, the
I think
slice
you just complained about the character design.
I
I
don't like
honestly
it.
think this is personal for Brad.
I did
I mean,
go a
I
little
don't
too
know
far
anymore.
on the explanation, but I don't care for it. The slice of life antics of Machiyama Police Station will be coming to the silver screen in 2022. So if the TV is the silver screen, what's the theater called?
I thought the theater was called the Silver Screen.
That's what I thought. Daryl Harding, you're wrong. Two guys on this stream are calling you out. It was announced today that Miko Yasu's Police in a Pod manga series will be getting a TV anime, giving people a look at the comedic capers of Japan's police force. The first visual and trailer was released alongside the announcement. Directing the series will be Hunter x Hunter Phantom Rouge. Okay, well, at least it was the best of the movies. And Aesthetica of a Rogue Hero is doing series competition.
Okay.
Laid Backers is doing the character designer. Well, there's your problem. Wait,
The
Laid
Laid
Backers. I read that as get
I just rewatched a little bit of that. I'm like, Lord.
animation by Madhouse.
Oh, well, that's good, I guess.
I don't know about the 2021 Madhouse, but sure.
So it says here, female police officer Kawai had enough of a career she wasn't even that into and was about to hand in her resignation when the unthinkable happened. She met the new female director of her station. And after spending a little time with this gorgeous role model, Kawai realized that maybe she isn't quite straight. Done with being an officer after all.
Wait, did it say not isn't quite straight? Is that what I heard?
That was my editorial.
That's what he said. She might have a little bit of lesbian emotion towards her fellow worker.
Anyway, so moving on here. Taiwanese RPG series Fantasia Sango gets TV anime in October of 2021. So I'm only really covering this because I can't wait to see Crunchyroll get canceled in China over even acknowledging the existence of Taiwan.
Yep.
So the story is set during the Three Kingdoms period in China, where various warlords and their armies attempt to conquer and unify the nation. The struggles of these mighty martial heroes attract the attention of the Morio king, the monstrous sovereign of evil spirits, who wishes to prolong the conflict and destroy the human world. To oppose the evil of the Morio king, an organization called Tengen forms anti-Morio
Tenga?
armies. Yep. Can you imagine? That do battle all over China. But when the 6th anti-Morio corps is suddenly wiped out, a ragtag band of adventurers is gathered to replace them and to form the new 6th anti-Morio corps. There you go. That's a thing.
Interesting.
All right, Anime News Network offended by Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S.
Really? What are they
Because
offended
of
by?
course.
Because of course they are, right? So
I guess
Anime
you
News
could
Network,
say it isn't really news. It's just kind of like expected at this point.
Part for the course.
It's like
I
going
mean,
to
nobody
war.
here is surprised. We're just reveling in how bent out of shape they are. So Anime News Network, a site whose reviews often seem to go out of their way to look for offensive things, has set its sights on another series currently airing this season. The cheery and occasionally raunchy Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, being the anime in question. The writer of the review laments having to witness the show's fan service of underage characters. Despite them believing the series has good elements to it, they also criticize the close-ups on Kana's thighs and Lukua's directing of unwanted sexual attention towards Shota in the first season of the anime. That's a weird way to phrase it.
You know,
The large-breasted...
I bet you whoever wrote that article is a big fan of the Yaoi My Hero Academia shippings.
Probably.
Probably.
So I heard that Mineta is now bisexual.
I think that was a bad translation, but yeah.
That's
Who knows, man? Who knows, man? He's got them sticky balls. That's literally his attack.
Well, the funny thing is that, you know, the crowd is offended because they were like, yeah, we wanted a character to be bi, but not him.
Okay,
Exactly. No. I was just about to say that. It's like
they wanted
it's like they got
to go for
the
some
bi
of that
community. The bi community is getting more representation. It's like, no, you need to make one of the heroes, the good, like the favorable characters need to be bi.
You need to make Kirishima and Tetsu gay for each other.
I mean, don't take me wrong. At this point, aren't they the same character? Wouldn't it just be masturbate? I mean, never mind.
Okay. So the large-breasted Iruru was, of course, also a talking point, as the writer called her a, quote, point of contention in the show's announcement. Additionally, generalizing by saying the mainstream audience, or anyone otherwise not interested in fan service that involves creeping on kid characters, find it frustrating to watch the show. Even though it is clearly mentioned Iruru is the same age as Toru, and the service of her so far, and Kana, so the fan service. So the fan service of her so far in Kana is rather tame in comparison to other shows. The writer was also unable to fathom the concept of a joke, as the Funari segment also proved unsettling for them. Hardly a surprise for those experienced with the site at this point. I haven't been watching this show, but I find this to be hilarious.
I have to point this out.
This was a
they've got
hilarious
very guilty
episode.
conscience. Like I always point out when people do this. And they're like, they see this stuff and it makes them like realize that, you know, they're the creepy ones because this is where their mind goes.
Right.
Because I watched the first episode or two of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and none of that even crossed my mind. I was too busy laughing my ass off and loving the fact that Toho played guitar.
No, Connor.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm just like,
The
these
couch
people,
train.
like their mind is so far gone. They're like, oh, this is the first place my mind goes when I see those.
So this is literally the review in its entirety. I think I'm going to skip it just because I haven't seen the second season of Maid Dragon yet. Dragon Maid, damn it. I knew I was going to fuck it up.
I'll tell you what, like I was already a fan of Toru's, but seeing her shred, I was like, if you like, I was like, oh my god.
These are replies to Anime News Network when they posted the tweet announcing the thing. A lot of anime isn't for the mainstream, and I like it that way. Stay mad, normies. Shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up. Yeah. Pleb successfully filtered. I remember after episode 2 release, some people on Twitter calling Kobayashi transphobic. Oh.
What?
I knew anti-anime / virtue signaling Twitter would have a field day over that episode. The innocence in those eyes. Oh.
Everywhere I look, I see his face.
All right. Anyway, is there any more down here, Rhys, that I should keep going for?
You saw the one that I was just like, I saw that. I was like, yeah, we have to share this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
It literally tries to, what's the word? God damn it. Fuck. I can't think of the word now for some reason. Like, he's trying to get Kobayashi when that shot of her.
Oh, she's trying to when she tries to like seduce her.
Seducer, thank you.
And then she's Kobayashi's like, I'm a woman.
That's like homophobic.
Oh, it's homophobic to not be interested in someone. Jeez.
Yeah, you know
Bleach-
what? I love that that's where the world's going. You tell someone you don't like them, all of a sudden you're either not straight or you're gay, or you're homophobic. I'm sorry.
You're not straight or you're gay. What?
Yeah, I know, right? Hey guys,
One's
let's-
acceptable,
we
the
need to
other's
talk
not.
about- Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just saying one's acceptable, the other's not.
Exactly.
So Jason South says she look high as a kite, referring to the police girl.
Hmm.
On that note, is there such thing as a gold screen? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Like,
I think it's
I always heard the silver
4K.
screen was the damn movie theater too. So
yeah,
I'm like,
it is, right? What do you like the black screen for like the TV one?
Small screen is the
Small
usual
screen
call it.
is
There you go.
yeah,
Small
that's
screen
the
and
home
silver
video,
screen.
right?
Legendary Anime JP Fan 2 says You're Under Arrest is the best 80s anime that they've seen.
You're
a great one.
really good. I'm
I
not
think it's
Right.
90s.
The
wouldn't
the
say
animation in it is spectacular. They do a lot of those scenes where they animate a camera move by hand, right? And they do a lot of really cool stuff like that. Like every episode is really cool.
I loved You're Under Arrest. Like Dan from Discord got me into watching it again. And I'm like, oh my god.
I want to watch it. I just need time.
It
need
aired
kids
in
who are-
1994.
I didn't think it was from the 80s.
Okay. Well, regardless.
Well, it was from
manga might
Anime
be.
JP
the
fan
manga
said
may
it.
have come from the 80s.
That's what I was saying. I was giving him that possibility.
So Jason South says, so when is offended bingo becoming a thing? I think it is. Only
Offended
proved
bingo?
unsettling because Fuda had no balls. Well,
It was not full package.
I'm
You got
afraid.
full packages. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. All right. So Bleach gets a 73-page one-shot in Weekly Shonen Jump. So this is for the 20th anniversary of the Bleach manga series. They're doing a little one-shot, 73 pages. Oh, it's teased that the chapter would be about Ichigo being summoned to the Soul Society for a certain ceremony. The one-shot is set to be 73 pages with a color center page. Maybe it's a marriage. I don't know.
Who knows?
Okay. If you have trypophobia, I'm going to recommend that you look away and just close your eyes for a minute while I read this.
Which trypophobia?
That
Oh,
means you have a fear of
Is that the fear of tiny
holes.
circles?
The holes that are close together. Anyway,
and
so
usually
final.
in skin.
Yeah.
Wait,
So it's pretty tame, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up because it's pretty unsettling to have to look at this stuff if you have a phobia of it. But Final Fantasy 14 alters Sage job icon over
Yes,
trypophobia
because
concerns.
It was the four swords, right? Because of the new class, and they had to like trypophobia. That's me and my roommate were just talking about this. Trypophobia is where people like have a fear of basically like tiny circles,
Yes, like these.
and I'm not looking at it actually. I'm doing multiple things.
Okay, so
they
Final
had-
Fantasy's
Go ahead.
Final Fantasy XIV's Naoki Yoshida unveiled that the icon for the Sage job in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker will be changed to accommodate those suffering from trypophobia or trypophobia. Something that many might find laughable, as there are likely an innumerable amount of things in game that probably trigger those with the condition. Trypophobia is an irrational fear of closely packed holes. So, director and producer Naoki Yoshida, I've moved past the image for anybody who had their eyes closed. Director and producer Naoki Yoshida mentioned in a statement that the development team is changing the icon, sure to have some wondering if the developer might end up also listening to the more political demands of those in the West, considering the game's rapidly elevating Western fan base. Here's a statement from
the answer to that question is yes.
Yeah. So wait, let me show you the stupid icon. That's it. Do you really think that? Oh, it's triggering my trypophobia, right?
Jesus
like
that.
Christ.
Okay, you want to know what this is?
So
This is, hey, what can we get away with to get our foot in the door? What So those small things like this is how it starts. Next things
what
you
can
know,
we get
it's
woke points out of?
Yeah.
well,
Dude, you've earned woke points.
yeah, that. But when people make these demands, they usually start with small, rather insignificant things like that, like this, just to see kind of like what they can get away, what they can push, how far they can get the developer, producer, whatever to bend, and
Right.
pretty soon, next thing you know, they're full blown.
why is it so fucking pixelated on the one on the right?
That's what this is. They were just finding something to nitpick about to see if the company would bend to their demands.
And
They
they
did. So now it's.
Oh, I
gonna
see
be
what you're saying.
downhill.
So you're saying it's not the company. It's not the company who's doing that. It's a shit test from the woke crowd. Because people, we've talked about this in the past. The reason that the cancel culture and stuff is so effective, or so like, the reason why people do it is because it's intoxicating to realize you have this power. By the way, you know what I just realized?
That you have power.
They rotated the the things, right?
Mhm.
But the shadow is still the original shadow.
Is it?
It is.
Are you sure the shadow looks angled
because-
on the right?
No, because you can see this part of the shadow is still here.
Yeah, but still, it looks angled if you go slightly up to the darker part.
I don't know. I'd have to overlay it in Photoshop. and prove
So
it.
how big is this stupid button in
I don't know.
game?
Probably pretty small.
It's just a symbol of like the newest class.
But
that
no,
they
like
created.
how much of the screen does this? It's just like a little button on the
percentage
hood.
wise, yeah, it's probably.
I
just
wouldn't
a little
say
icon.
it's like constantly thrown into your face. It's just a representation for the character. But I haven't played 14 much, so
I'd have to
It's
like
the
really
camera.
scoot back and try to look at this from across the room to feel like it was worth it to even.
Also,
censor it.
it's like this is the whole thing. Just like he was saying just a second ago, it's the whole if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile kind of thing.
Right.
Is all that
So-
comes to my mind.
So let's see what their reasoning was for why they removed it. So they said regarding the Sage job icon. Now then, I'd like to share some news regarding the icon for the new Sage job, which was recently revealed on the Endwalker special site. When we released new details for Sage and Reaper on the special site, we also included their icons, not thinking that they were particularly big reveals. However, we soon received feedback from players all over the world who told us that the Sage icon made them uncomfortable or fearful. Well, then this game ain't for you, bitch.
I honestly
Well,
feel like that's troll. That right there is just a bunch of trolls. Just like how they got the weird flavor of cereal to pass.
Dude, this
Some
would
of
be
the-
like if the fans bought that Televery game from Japan and went to the developers and kept on telling them to take out more and more sexual content, and at the end of it, it's like, yeah, we don't even have a game left or something.
Oh,
So
I-
it's a-
I almost think that it wasn't the trypophobia; it was something else.
And that was just an
If-
excuse.
Well,
Like it-
I think Dan's right. I think that this is a effort to get your foot in the door with being able to control. Look, I'm telling you, people
agree
are
with him on that.
addicted to the ability to manifest reality via typing on the internet or verbalizing something. Being able to bring something into existence or alter things, the power of God to, let there be light, so to speak, and have your voice dictate reality is intoxicating to people, right? And
Let's
it is
just
something
hope.
good.
I was gonna say, let's just hope these people never have a threesome. Oh, too many holes close together. Oh!
Why was it funny?
These people aren't getting laid. So it says here the aversion is
It's
known as
very hard to begin
trypophobia.
with.
And those who have it feel disgust and fear when they see clusters of small holes or bumps. The severity of the reaction varies between people, and what triggers it in some may not do so in others. But regardless of such differences, you have given us your earnest feedback, and there's still time to change things. considering also the fact that job icons are prominently visible in the game, and that they also appear on merchandise. We've made the decision to redesign the Sage icon.
I have a fear of falling off the top of a tall building. Can we like?
No, I like Greenline's comment. Should I sue Bethesda for my arachnophobia? He actually has a point there. They like to have giant spiders in their games, especially in Skyrim.
That's a good lord. What about people who have like fear of like?
Wait. Actually, I take it back.
Rats.
I don't know if Bethesda is the one that does Skyrim.
I think it is Bethesda.
I think it is.
I'm pretty certain it is.
Oh yeah, it is Bethesda. Okay.
And I'm just
all I could think of, as you said, was every time you invoke the podcast magic. Yeah, but how many times do we invoke podcast magic and have it actually do anything? Like, we do it as a meme in a joking manner, but I agree. I get your joke here. Intoxicated with the power to change reality. Hey, if I could change reality with the podcast, don't think for a second that I fucking wouldn't. Anyway, so here, the design concept. The design concept is unchanged, with the icon being based on the four noliths which form the Sage's ornament. Sage's armament. The holes in the original design were added for detail, but they ended up appearing as a cluster. To address the problem, the new icon reduces the holes while accentuating the design concept. Now,
reduce the holes.
Now, comparisons will inevitably be made, and some of you may prefer the original, but we believe that designs like this are things that grow on you as you play the job. And ask for your understanding as we head into Endwalker. Yeah, so whatever. There you are. It's actually, let me see what this is. Give me a second. Oh, you know what's going on with my computer? I need to restart my computer. It's not the internet that's having the issues.
Oh.
So the image, why would you... Yeah, so this is the image that they provided. And it's pixelated as all hell on the right side. Anyway.
It's trapped.
So a collector completed the full set of 1,053 Famicom games.
Oh,
sorry.
Wow.
I was Kabachi. Oh no, spiders in my game. Then it's not my game. Play something else.
Yeah, no shit.
People with holes phobia won't actually play the game. Yeah. I mean,
would they watch that movie with Shia LaBeouf because it's literally called Holes?
So I think what's going on, I think trypophobia is common amongst autistic people. And I think that the rate, like they say that by 2050, 50% of the entire Earth's population is going to be autistic. So.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Isn't that the statistic? By 2050, half the world will be autistic?
Are you sure they're not just like retroactively like applying the autistic label to people with, I don't know, a trivial fear of holes or something? Like when I see those, it's like
by 2050.
It's like you look at the holes, and what I see is it's like you apply that to someone's flesh, and then you apply it to your own flesh, and you're like, ah.
So I think what it is because this was big on 4chan for a long time, and half the people on there are autistic, if not all of them. They call themselves it's weaponized autism over there, right? So, but I remember this being a thing on 4chan on B all the time, and yeah, it would be like botfly eggs in a person's skin or something. Yeah, so it's when you see it, it's pretty awful, right? It's or they would Photoshop eyes all over breasts or something.
Right. Oh, really Lord.
Nasty. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, totally. It's pretty awful. But
I guess I'm autistic or something.
Well, I can't imagine. In my everyday life, I don't see the things that would trigger trypophobia things in a normal person. Right. It's not a common occurrence because I think design wise it is off-putting to see anyway, right? So when you're designing something, it looks bad when you do that. So people avoid doing it in design on purpose. right? It's usually an intentional thing, and when it does occur, it's usually in nature, and it's only like the example that they used was like a
lotus
pea pod or whatever, cut in half.
Honeycombs.
Yeah, but even honeycomb naturally doesn't have the effect. It's a very specific thing where the holes are dark, right? The hole is darker than the surrounding, so it looks almost like.
Well, the honeycombs, they look flat, whereas the other ones look like perforated
deep
skin or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's a very specific thing, and I think Dan is absolutely right. I think that it is it's a shit test to see what they can get away with. The people who are complaining don't actually have the phobia. Yeah, I would bet you anything. Anyway, so I don't really want to read this, but I felt like it was important to cover because we are a collecting podcast. But what's neat about it, or interesting at least, is how many different box types the Famicom went through.
Those shelves kind of remind me of your shelves in a way. Rip.
I know, right? Hashtag bring back the shelves. So anyway, we are now going into release news.
Okay.
Hooray. I know, we're going quick, right? Because we did a show like 2 days ago.
You guys are moving very fast because you didn't invite anyone.
Speed run.
Says the guy we invited.
I know, right?
Non Biyori Remember spin-off manga comes with a new OAD. Special Japanese edition will feature the unaired 13th episode of Non Biyori non-stop TV anime. So how does it feel to get cucked once again?
I mean,
we usually
we're already
don't get
initially
these OVAs.
cucked. We're initially cucked with the extra movie or whatever that came out. So it's like, well, now the complete box set isn't complete.
Right.
So what's another thing to add on to that?
So OADs, Dan, are original animated disc that get released with a manga.
Mm-hmm.
It has one episode on it.
AKA what all OVAs are pretty much anyway.
Yeah. But these specifically usually come with the manga, and they almost never get brought over to the West. So that's usually whenever you've got a series and you've got a couple OVAs on the disc, but you find out that there's like two more that for some reason weren't on the US release, it's probably because they got released with a manga.
Got it.
So they sort of get this weird licensing thing. Like for instance, there's like 8 of them for Attack on Titan, and 4 of them so far have come over with the manga. You had to buy the manga over here. They're not dubbed. They're just on DVD. There's no Blu-ray. And the only way to get them is to buy the manga over here. And they only released 4 of them instead of all 6 or 8 or whatever there was.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of OADs we've gotten over here. Like, I don't think it's like OADs virtually never come over here.
Wasn't the Attack of the Saiyans with Dragon Ball? Wasn't that not Attack of the Saiyans? Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans.
Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans. I think that's a video game
it's
like a tie-in
with a video game.
Yeah, it was cut scenes in a game that got strung together to make a movie.
Yeah.
So they have. I'm assuming the rights to that are not exclusively owned by Toho. It's owned by a gaming company. It's owned by a gaming company instead. So Funimation has a harder time licensing it because they don't have the established relationship, and the terms are going to be different for licensing for another company. I believe that's why Kodansha, who released the Attack on Titan manga over here?
Kodansha,
right? So Kodansha was able to release those. Is the Kodansha over here just the same as the Kodansha in Japan?
It's just a subsidiary, I think.
Yeah, so I guess that makes sense why they were able to get those. But then I guess they didn't sell well enough, so they decided not to release the other ones. Yeah. But anyway, so back to this.
That with like the when the anime is all said and done. But Funimation dubbed like all 4 of those recap movies or whatever, and they never released those on disc. So maybe the
UK got them and released them sub only, right?
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
That happened.
So hopefully, podcast magic that Funimation decides, okay, we dubbed all these recap movies. Let's just dub all these, get these OVAs, and release one big like movie OVA collection kind of thing.
I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of the series Data Live. Like, there's an entire movie of that never got.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I feel like that's more akin to the Steins Gate situation where, they've had Steins Gate since 2013 or something, and it took, 2017 or 18 to get the movie, Deja Vu, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Right. So Greenline says, we'll get there, #, bring back the shelves. I hope. I hope I can even stay in this home because it's kind of up in the air right now. I should find out tomorrow if I got the job I interviewed for, though. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, it's like
Good luck, buddy.
Funimation also has like the Slime OVAs and the two most recent.
Yeah, those are the Slime
Okay.
OADs, actually.
Or whatever.
Okay.
And the My Hero
I
Academia.
didn't say it never happens. I
Right.
said that there are times.
But they still haven't released those Slime OADs on disc yet, even though they've dubbed them. Same with the last two My Hero Academia OVAs,
So
even though
the
they dubbed
next
those as well. Sorry.
the next article is supposed to be. God, my computer is like.
It's clicky.
All that
It's
speed.
been, it's been acting weird all day
There we go.
in Photoshop. Okay, damn it. Okay, so Arrow Films gets spooky with Yokai Monsters Blu-ray collection. So I'm remembering why I was supposed to have shown my pickups. So they're doing I think it's a 4-movie collection that has a trilogy plus a new like remastered version of the concept of the movies. It has like the yokai, so they've got like the kappa and all the other different types of Japanese demon folklore. And it's what did they write? They said it was from the makers of Daimajin. And my pickup was this, the Daimajin trilogy. So from what I understand, this is a oh, that looks terribly small. This is a kaiju that's like a giant samurai monster. As you can see. Right? So it's like a kaiju series of that. It is horrendously expensive. Actually, no, this is pretty cheap for pounds. It was horrendously expensive everywhere, except for Diabolic DVD was pretty cheap. So that's where I got it. Anyway, moving on to release news, and there's none. So moving on from there. So Professor Who tweeted this out. Apparently, the technical director of the Criterion Collection was on a podcast. And he was agreeing with misinformation that compared HDR, high dynamic range, to motion smoothing, and he called it and 4K marketing gimmicks. So apparently that's why Criterion Collection doesn't do 4K, and that's very unfortunate because they don't
do it over this misconception that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Now, granted, I do think that when 4K HDR came first. When it first came out, that the high dynamic range that's on Mad Max Fury Road is hot garbage. It is pushed to the extreme so that it really shows up to get people who just bought into the new thing, like, wow, it's so vibrant and stuff. But they push it to a degree that actually cheapens the visual experience of watching the movie.
I bet you're going to say it was so minimal that it virtually didn't exist. Because it was like the infancy?
Quite opposite, yeah. So I can see why he would think that, but I wish he had stayed up to date with it. So Savakis said they finished Eiko, and he's pretty happy with it. And I saw this, I thought it was interesting. This guy, Enigmo, said, or Enigmoron, says, if you want to remove dust and dirt from a negative, you ought to utilize infrared channel scanning. Togen use AriScan and Scanity HDR. Not sure which of the two they used. Not sure which of the two they used for you, but both have infrared channel support. I'd be surprised if your Eiko scan doesn't have one. basically by using the infrared channel, by using infrared light when scanning, any physical obtrusions to the light hitting the film will be picked up and matted onto a separate channel. This can then be used with one of those automated filters to only affect where the dirt is on the matte channel.
Holy crap.
So that was kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
That's something I did not have any idea
And
of.
then apparently I opened up this on here as well. Yeah, it's much more expensive on. Anyway, I thought those were interesting. Let's see. Let's just open these all up. And then we'll talk about Hellsing,
Oh,
yeah.
which I finished and did not watch the abridged.
I love the abridged.
Jason's house says they just want to go to streaming more.
Regarding Funimation not releasing the OVA, the slime
Oh,
OVAs on
yeah.
disc.
They think they're Netflix, and I
Very
hope
like-
they
well-
don't do that.
I think it's Sony that is probably causing this issue. But yes. But you know what? Honestly, it very well could be from Funimation's end that that when you get the license for the OADs, you might not be able to get them for the same amount of time as you have for the series, but maybe you can if you're doing it for streaming or something like that. So maybe they're worried about having to sell stuff because, like, for instance, if you were to because some licensors are like this, where when you want to put something on disc, they say, okay, you can put it on disc and you can sell it, but you can only sell it for 3 years. And then
Right,
at this certain point, if you have it left over, you have to destroy that stock, right? So Funimation might be in a position where, okay, yeah, the show, yeah, totally. License that for 5 years, sell as much of it as you can, and come back to renew if you run out of stock and you want to take it further. And then the OVA or OAD license holders are like, yeah,
2
destroy
years.
it after 13 months, and then don't talk to me or my child ever again, right? And
I
so
found it-
Funimation would be like, well, do we put this out on a disc by itself and screw up the complete collection? Do we put it on the complete collection, then have to destroy all the stock, even though our other, so it very well could be stuff like that that's directing these moves, but it is unfortunate regardless.
Mhm.
Said, I mean, Funimation is just lazy sometimes. They have the license for the OVAs for Magus Bride, but they didn't dub it. Lazy bastards. Again, OVAs and OADs could honestly be in a category where they aren't allowed to. So anyway, Demon Slayer fans can now own a replica of Zenitsu's sword with the latest Proplica release. So there you go. That is a thing. Moving on. All right. So Christoph McDonald wrote up this thing. How much does it cost to license an anime series? So recently, this is regarding Anime Tube. Recently, there's been some discussion about how much it costs to license an anime series, especially in the wake of the recent Anime Tube Kickstarter campaign. There are many factors that impact the cost of the license, including, but not limited to, how popular is the franchise? Is this a first-run/simulcast license? Is the license exclusive? What rights are being granted? What territories are included in the license? Is the licensee on the production committee? Are there previously existing materials? Is there a holdback on the rights in Japan? So the first one, how popular is the franchise, is pretty straightforward. Licensing a new entry in a super popular franchise will cost significantly more than licensing a series that doesn't have a lot of hype. This impacts the demand for the product, and higher demand from consumers and from competing licensees drives up the price of the license. Secondly, is this a first-run license? This is very similar to the previous factor in that it affects demand. First-run/simulcast licenses are more in demand, and therefore they are much more expensive. This is why Discotek Rescue licenses things. It is cheaper. And a lot of the grunt work's already been done. You already get the dub most of the time.
Already translated. Might need some touch-ups, but most of that's done.
Might need some pronoun changes. Competition among simulcasters and the explosive growth of internet streaming has pushed anime licensing prices to heights that have never been seen before. Almost all first-run/simulcast licenses these days are exclusive. An exclusive license is one that allows no other licensee to acquire the same rights. No duh. It is very rare for licensees like Crunchyroll, Viz, or Funimation to be interested in a non-exclusive simulcast/first-run license. In the rare cases where you see something simulcasting on two different platforms in the same territory, it is likely that one of those platforms licensed the rights from the other master licensee. For example, Funimation sometimes sub-licensed to Hulu, and in these cases, Hulu is not acquiring the show rights from the Japanese licensor. Most licensees won't sub-license to direct competitors either, so you're unlikely to see Funimation ever license to High Dive or to a startup that seeks to disrupt them. These days, it's pretty rare for major anime companies to pick up rights for just a country or two. Typically, they will have licenses that are something like World except Asia, or English-speaking world. North American rights are almost always the most expensive, and North American companies often scoop up rights from many other countries at the same time. For a few years, mainland China rights were sometimes higher than the North American rights, but due to the number of changes in both markets, this is not the case today. I mean, yeah, China's got 1 billion fucking people in it. Sometimes a licensee manages to be invited to be on the production committee for the anime. This means they are effectively one of the shareholders for the corporation that makes and owns the anime. Production committees are a whole topic for one or more other articles. But right now, it's important to understand that if a licensee is on the committee, they will be asked to make an investment toward the production budget, and depending on the arrangement, they may also be expected to pay a licensing fee on top of their investment. Other times, it is included in the investment. Boy, if it ain't included in the investment, then you're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Usually, licensees who are production committee members will pay a bit less for the license than they would otherwise be expected to. However, there have been cases of companies paying huge investments to be on the production committee. Normal licenses are for a limited period of time, but production committee members regularly get their rights in perpetuity, meaning forever. Foreign companies usually aren't invited to be on production companies, particularly for the most popular titles. But in some cases, the producers are either looking for more investment or some other added benefit that a foreign company can bring to the production. I mean, it would have been nice if Attack on Titan final season reached out to Funimation so they would have to CG the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
First run and simulcast releases generally have limited materials available. No books have been created, the translations haven't been made yet, etc. But for catalog content, licensees are sometimes willing to pay a bit more than they otherwise would have, or might be expected to pay a bit more, if they want to pick up pre-existing subtitle script or dub, or any other materials that they might want to include in their release as extras. Finally, a holdback is when there is a mandated delay between the Japanese release and the foreign release, which maybe Black Rock Shooter suffered from.
That would be an incredible holdback. I think, so yeah, this essentially means
bartender,
like...
maybe?
Oh, you have to wait until, it's had enough time to thrive in Japan before you can release your release. Otherwise, the Japanese are going to
reverse import.
Yeah, where the only case I can think of where it was either simultaneous or earlier is like a Dragon Ball Super Broly, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. So anyway, this is much more common for physical releases than streaming. But originally, a lot of streaming licenses were not truly simultaneous, delayed by anywhere from a few hours to a week. For a physical release, getting rid of the holdback requires a higher licensing fee, or may not even be possible. But for simulcasts, holdbacks are no longer very common. All of this affects not only the price, but also the structure of the payments. The most common licensing model for new shows is royalty-based with a minimum guarantee, or MG. The MG is the bare minimum that the licensee guarantees to pay. Sometimes the MG ends up being the only payment made. Licensors generally look for a minimum guarantee that is sufficient to make the deal worth it, even if additional royalties are never paid. On the other hand, a flat rate fee is where the licensee pays a fixed amount for the series and no royalties. Flat rate deals are almost unheard of among anime companies such as Funimation and Crunchyroll these days. They were more common in the VHS era, but they are very common with mainstream platforms such as Netflix and Disney. Flat rate deals are simpler because the licensee does not have to report any details about performance to the licensor. Even though these mainstream platforms like flat fees, licensors don't like them, particularly in relation to A+ shows, and have been known to turn down significant flat fee offers on licenses they believe have the highest earning potential. Keep in mind, many Netflix originals and similar titles on other platforms aren't licensed at all. The US studio merely contracts an anime studio to produce the anime for them. Historically, flat rate or minimum guarantee licensing fees may have been paid up front, but that hasn't been the case in decades. With today's high licensing fees for simulcasts, the flat rate and minimum guarantees are usually paid over a schedule, particularly in the case of extremely expensive licenses. More powerful and trusted licensees are more likely to be able to pay over time, typically over 12 to 24 months, but as long as 10 years in some rare cases. A third model, revenue share, is more common with catalog content. Smaller markets, i.e. non-English speaking, and non-exclusive titles. With a revenue share agreement, the licensee does not guarantee any payment, but instead agrees to share a certain percentage of revenue, example 50%, over the license period. As with the royalty model, the licensee must provide regular reporting on the revenue earned and make regular, example quarterly, payments. Where was I? Now keep in mind, every contract is unique. There are no rules to how a licensing deal should be structured. There are just most common practices. There are several other less common methods for paying for licenses, and there's a number of factors, such as recoupables, that go into calculating royalties and revenue sharing. So with that, how much does it cost? A first-rate AAA or A+ simulcast for North America will set the licensee back a minimum guarantee or flat rate of hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode. Currently, these titles often go for as much as $250,000 minimum guarantee per episode, but can go as high as $400,000 in some cases. $250,000 per episode roughly covers the full Japanese production budget for many series. Can you imagine? Jesus. No wonder the U.S. market got so big. Although it's too fucking bad that animators haven't gotten paid more, right?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So, in some case, $250,000 per episode roughly covers the full Japanese production budget for many series. So, are they saying that $250,000 per episode is the budget, or $250,000 for the whole series is the budget?
God damn.
I think it's per episode.
Per episode, that's a lot.
So it's
Well,
good.
it has to at least be. It would make more sense to be that, because if Corral, that 26 episode series, was $1 million.
I think it was 900,000.
Was it like
yeah.
Was it Afro Samurai like $5 million for the entire series?
Really?
I'm not
That's like
sure.
$1 million an episode. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it says here, so $250,000 per episode roughly covers the full Japanese production budget for many series, although higher budget anime sometimes costs as much as $500,000 an episode to produce, $500,000 to produce.
Wait, is their
At those
licensing
rates-
fee the same?
No, they're saying that $250,000 per episode roughly covers the production budget for many series, but sometimes a series can cost twice as much per episode. That doesn't mean that the licensing gets that high per episode. But they did say it can go
I
as
was
high as
gonna
400,000.
I was gonna say, so are you saying that in Japan they license their shows out for as much as it costs for them to make the series, so they essentially made a free anime?
Sure seems like it. So it
That'd
says
be a
here at
dope
those
scam.
rates, at those rates, other countries and physical media rights are usually included, but they are the lesser part of the fee. The simulcast is the major portion, which is weird to me because I don't feel like you're making back as much money from a simulcast as you are from somebody buying a Blu-ray. We covered this.
I'm just putting it up there because you're like, I don't think streaming.
I lost where I was at. The simulcast is the major portion. A more typical show, or what the industry calls a B or B plus, will have a minimum guarantee. Okay, so we were just talking about AAA. Like that's like you're going to spend $250,000 per episode for Attack on Titan, right? Something like that. Now,
Sure.
A more typical show, or what the industry calls a B or B plus, will have a minimum guarantee of between $70,000 and $150,000 if it's a new first-run show. Finally, the C's will have a simulcast prices in the lower 5 figures per episode, of course. So 5 figures is going to be at least 10,000, right? So you think Juden-chan costs like 10,000 per episode? That's like $120,000
Hey, you
show?
remember how good that animation was?
Yeah, it was great. But it was also a very niche show because you had to have a piss fetish to really appreciate it, right?
Is that why you liked it so much? No.
The things you learn.
That was a brief look behind the curtain, y'all.
Oh no.
So long gone are the days of $500 per episode simulcast licenses. Jesus Christ, $500 for damn. Long gone are also the days where I could watch an anime in 13 parts on YouTube. Non-exclusive catalog titles are much more affordable. A streaming video on demand platform could get a lot of titles for a couple $1,000s per episode, possibly even under $1,000 per episode if the series isn't in high demand. Generally speaking, these rights would still have to be obtained as sub-licenses from the existing local licensees. But in some cases, if the exclusive rights haven't been renewed, they could be acquired straight from Japan. Sometimes non-exclusive licenses, particularly in non-English speaking territories, can even be acquired as revenue shares with no minimum guarantee or upfront payment, which significantly reduces any risk to the licensee. All right, guys. So what do you think it'll take for me to convince them to give me a revenue share for a show that we just put on the channel? And what show would it be? Do you think I can beat you? We'll get Skelter Heaven, right?
Oh.
Exclusive.
I'd put money down for a beat you.
We'll translate Skelter Heaven just by ear as best we can. Anyway.
Honestly, I wonder how much the price would be for that license. Because
Right?
literally no one's gotten it.
So they're
And
saying
instead of putting it up as Skelter Heaven episode 1 would be the worst anime according to my anime list. Watch it here free, right?
Yeah.
So according to this, it's like $1,000 bare minimum is $1,000 per episode, right?
Yeah,
Bare minimum
pretty much.
per episode.
Yeah.
And Anime Cube is asking for only $50,000.
Yeah.
How the hell are they going to do
but they're
that?
they're saying that non-exclusive licenses, particularly in non-English speaking territories, can even be acquired as revenue shares without putting any upfront payment or minimum guarantee, right? So you literally just get it. They give it to you as long as you're sharing the revenue. They let you have it, right? So when it comes to sub-licensing, as I mentioned before, streaming platforms such as Funimation, Netflix, and Crunchyroll aren't very incentivized to sub-license anything they have to another streaming platform, even for fair market value. There has to be a good reason for them to consider these deals, such as high exposure to a unique market segment, a significant minimum guarantee, or the possibility of a very high revenue share in the long run. Sub-licensing... Hold on one second.
Alright. So, what have you guys been watching lately?
Nothing.
watched, like I
Because,
said.
was it finished Hellsing Ultimate? And actually, no, I did watch that first episode of that one. Didn't you recommend that one show? You're like realist in
So,
another world or whatever.
My
'Cause the
wife
dub-
just
I watched the
brought
first
this
of
in to
that,
show
too.
me. This is what
Centaur
Netflix
World?
is giving for kids.
That's bizarre.
Rated Y7. Centaur World. On a quest to
I guess
reunite with
that
her trusty
centaur ass
rider,
is appropriate.
a fearless warhorse journeys through a whimsical world filled with magic, adventure, and singing centaurs. This is what Netflix is giving to your kids.
AIDS, apparently.
Okay. Yeah, eggs.
That centaur's ass was inappropriate, I'll have you know. Wow, someone's patriotic as balls. Like, look at all those
Holy
flags.
Christ, brother.
Yo, what are you doing with those flags?
I'm terrorizing my anti-American neighbors.
Amen to that, brother.
I thought you were going to say, like, I'm performing acupuncture with my flags.
No, my wife's grandmother and my wife's mom are both realtors, and I guess it's a realtor thing to just have a bunch of little mini American flags.
I've seen other realtors do that, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's a possibility.
Hold on one second.
I like
Yeah.
I like the first explanation better.
So,
Terrorizing your neighbors with actual
where
American
was
flags.
it?
Hell yeah.
So when it comes to licensing, right? So basically, they're not. Funimation's not keen on bothering with sub licensing because there's no reason for them to.
To be fair.
Most sub licensing takes place long after the master licensee has made the bulk of their money off the show and are no longer concerned about competing services. Yeah, so I feel like we're seeing a lot of rescue licenses from Funimation for Discotek, right? And it seems to me that I wonder if Funimation, because look, think about it for a second. Funimation already got all the money they're going to get from Pursuit of Hari Mouse Treasure. They already got everything they're going to get from Kenichi, Earth's Mightiest Disciple, or whatever, right? So Discotek, though, they've got something going for them in that they're known for doing incredible work on Blu-rays. It's the best it's going to look, right?
Mhm.
Is if you get it from Discotek. So people who already bought Earth's Mightiest Disciple Kenichi are going to rebuy the Blu-ray. They're going to rebuy it to get it on Blu-ray from Discotek, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like Discotek's really positioned themselves in a way where they've got a really good thing going, that they're able to take old stuff that's already stuff people love and re-release it and make
Again,
good money.
like, fourth time.
Whereas if Funimation re-released Kenichi, Earth's Mightiest, they'd probably make less than half what Discotek is going to make. You know what I mean?
Because they just churn it out, not do anything, not look over the masters, not
Yeah.
make sure they had the best.
And then
masters that they could
Funimation would
possibly
release
find.
it, and then like 2 weeks into the release, they're like, "Oh no, somebody noticed we forgot to put the last episode on. Discs will be recalled." All that shit.
Oh my god. SDR wasn't put on.
Yeah.
Like, what was it the
Akira.
subtitles for the ending thing or whatever? That like either I don't know for Savakis or Brady was going over. Like they had all these different weird subtitles. Was that for Kenichi?
I don't remember. I thought you were talking about the SDR instead of HDR for Akira.
What do you mean by the subtitles? Like they were wrong, or
Like no. Like they had all sorts. Like I remember a tweet showing like a shot from an ending theme that had like little snippets of like katakana or kanji all over the place, and they made like different subtitles for all of them.
well, I remember Lupin had AIDS subtitles. They were thrown off.
That's one thing, but I remember it was specifically. I swear to God, it was for Kenichi.
it wasn't Sergeant Frog or something? Because I remember they tweeted that Sergeant Frog was a huge undertaking in some capacities.
Carry on, I'm gonna look it up.
So, sub-licensing of first-run shows is exceptionally rare. Most sub-licensing takes place long after the master licensee has made the bulk of their money off the show and are no longer concerned about competing services. These platforms also typically renew most of their licenses these days. I've been told that it's very rare for them to let a license lapse. Well, tell that to Funimation. But when it comes to older titles, say pre-2007, and for markets where the big guys aren't active, it is possible to get older, non-exclusive licenses directly from Japan, and for relatively cheap with little or no minimum guarantee required. If you're a well-established company with a history of paying on time, it's easy to get that if you're a well-established company with a history of paying on time. However, acquiring cheap catalog rights from Japan poses an entirely different challenge. If the show is only worth a couple $100 per episode, some licensors won't consider it worth the effort to bother with the sale. Acquiring really old titles poses an even bigger challenge. The older the show is, the harder it is to even determine who actually owns the rights for the show and find the materials. For a licensee with a budget, acquiring new shows, while more expensive, is actually much easier than acquiring older shows. Now that you know roughly how much it costs to acquire a show and how difficult it can be to acquire cheaper shows, let's talk a bit about risk. Licensees take big risks when acquiring a show. The first is the minimum guarantee, regardless of the title's performance. They are obligated to pay the full minimum guarantee. If the title doesn't earn them as much as expected, the licensor does not refund any portion of the minimum guarantee. But if the title does better than expected, the licensee will make overage payments to the licensor. Since even catalog shows usually have minimum guarantees, this risk applies to almost every anime license. In addition to the minimum guarantee, they also have all their other expenses related to localizing, promoting, and releasing the anime. Meaning, in addition to having to pay that minimum guarantee, you have to pay to get it translated. You have to get the subtitles typed up. You have to pay to get it dubbed. You have to pay to promote it, right? You have to pay to get the discs made and all that if you're releasing it on disc. The hosting cost for like Crunchyroll and all that. So the second big risk is unique to new shows. Licensees are now being asked to bid on shows as much as a year or more in advance. Wow. At this point, so how much do you think Funimation bid on Interspecies Reviewers? Hello, tiny child. Wow, it's really late and you're up still?
It's only 8:10. Come on.
Mm-hmm. We're all up here. Crawl down there. Let's not down here. I'm down here.
Okay.
I'm super hungry.
You're super hungry? Can you take this to the kitchen and throw it away and then ask your mom about food?
You can put this in here.
Okay. I guess not throwing it away, just sticking it in my cup is okay. That's okay, I guess. All right. Now go to the other part. Ask your mom about food.
I found my ball.
Yep, take the bouncy ball out.
This is my face.
She's super hungry. All right, where was I?
Door's still open.
I know, I'm waiting for a second.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. As much as a year in advance. At this point, production hasn't even started, and all the bidders get to look at are a few production sketches, the outline, and who the expected production team is. This makes it very hard to judge how popular the show will be unless it's based on an established franchise. So sometimes the licensees pay for a B+ and get a dud. And sometimes they pay for a C and get a masterpiece that they pass on because it doesn't live up to their standards. There are also several famous examples of shows that change significantly between the time when the contract is signed and the minimum guarantee is paid and the show being delivered. Imagine paying for a series that is supposed to be a little risque, but receiving a show that ends up being borderline pornographic. Oh, I can't imagine what they're talking about. Avoiding this sort of situation is another benefit of being on a production committee. So there you have it. Streaming licenses cost anywhere from slightly under $1,000 per episode for the cheapest catalog titles to hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode for simulcast. But even if you have the budget, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to secure licenses. Licensing anime is decidedly more complicated than just being able to pay for it. So there you go. That was a much longer article than I thought it would be, and it wasn't that interesting. So I'm sorry.
I hate how I read all of that, so I had to relive the whole article.
Well, if I had known you'd read all of it, I would have just had you summarize it.
Well, I just have one thing to point out is that they talk about sub-licensing, and it's like, oh, it rarely ever happens and stuff. There's this show called Card Fight Overdress that's currently airing on Funimation, High Dive, probably Crunchyroll, probably their YouTube, and I applaud them for that because they're getting the most exposure, and B, I'm just like, where do I watch it then? Like, there's so many options.
Yeah.
I'm not actually watching it, but I mean, I'm just pointing that out there is that I am so aware of this show because I see it everywhere.
I don't think I've ever heard of it before, to be honest.
So, Legendary Anime JP Fan 2 says, my high school DxD gameplay is censored by YouTube, LOL. So when you say that it's censored by YouTube, do you mean that they've blocked it from people to be able to see it? Like they've given you a community guideline strike or something like that? Or do you mean that they've actually like blurred it or whatever?
I doubt they blurred it. That's a lot of extra work.
Right. But it would be interesting.
Your thumbnails are so etchy. Let's.
I watched a bunch of your You're Under Arrest gameplay, by the way. So, right on.
Couldn't understand it, but yeah.
So, real quick, you guys remember the Tenga rocket?
Yes.
So, in my rewatch of the podcast, shortly after we actually read the last article about the rocket, I got to a point where we covered the existence of the rocket, like it was gonna be a thing, and we made almost all the same jokes. I completely forgot that we had covered it before, but it'll make a great intermixed, very confusing clip if we ever did it. Mm-hmm. So masturbatory aid rocket actually launched in Japan. So Tenga pulls off its biggest, boldest stunt yet. The Tokyo Olympics weren't the only ambitious undertaking on the calendar in Japan this summer. Back in January, Japanese masturbatory aid Tenga. Okay, there's a word missing here. Japanese masturbatory aid extravaganza, a company, conglomerate Tenga, announced that it was going to the stars. That might sound like an overly lofty goal for a company that serves its customers arguably base needs, okay? But if there's one thing Tenga knows about, other than busting a nut, of course, it's pulling off some wild promotions. And on Saturday, at the Hokkaido spaceport in the town of Taiki, the Tenga rocket was prepped for launch. As shown in this video of the Ramrod Strait, the Ramrod Strait spacecraft rising to an erect position. Here's the video. Well, that must have taken all day because this is clearly a time lapse. Ordinarily, I'd consider such shallow phallic associations immature and misplaced when discussing aerospace engineering, but hey, this is Tenga we're talking about. So due to pandemic-related social distancing measures, a large public launch ceremony wasn't in the cards. And really, a certain amount of privacy is probably something Tenga fans themselves can understand and appreciate. The company did, however, live stream the launch, and the video below is queued up to T-minus 10 seconds to ignition. So you can...
They privately launched.
You can see it there. Tenga rocket launch. All right. So, and of course, all the images didn't load because I'm a failure.
I forget is the.
Good?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I forget. I'm audio only right now. I'm experiencing this like an audiobook here with you guys, like on the radio. Is the Tinker Rocket? Was that a male or a female masturbation aid? Masturbatory aid. Male. Okay.
It's probably interchangeable. If
It's an
the
Ona
rocket.
hole.
Oh, okay. Because I know the Pocket Rocket was, if I remember correctly, the most popular female masturbatory aid, from what I remember correctly.
They got masturbatory aids.
Oh Lord! You know what? That sounds terrifying. Actually, you got AIDS from yourself. Where's your left hand been? What? Too far?
Sorry, I'm just trying to get this to load.
It's okay. You're good.
You know what? I think I'm going to just move us along.
It's a big load. It takes a little while.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to this article. I want to move us along.
overload.
You'll come back to it.
I'm going to move us along so we can get to the watch club because I've got work in the morning, and I want to go to bed with some semblance of sleep. So another Chinaman nearly embraces death from anal eel insertion.
Yep. That's
Enough said.
What is happening in China?
Well, when the population density is that large,
That's the real cure to the
we're
bat
gonna hear
disease.
about the basket case a lot more often.
I guess. I don't hear a lot about Indian things happening other than like snakes biting a guy's dick off that we covered or whatever. Remember the toilet snake?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So yet another Chinese man nearly succumbed to death after employing the old folk remedy of inserting an eel into the rectum to try and alleviate constipation. With many sure to suggest that
I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe.
no.
Not
Look,
really.
No, it doesn't.
If you're constipated and you're gonna insert something in your butt, literally anything else not living would also work.
Well, I think the idea is that the eel will eat away the impaction, but
Okay.
Okay,
But
first of all,
I have
let's
to imagine
oh my god,
that
that poor
literally
eel.
just pushing stuff back and then pulling out the object quickly would cause it to like forcefully launch through the spot where it's stuck, right?
I don't know. I
We'll
would
see.
also eel up my butt.
Dude, oh my god, that poor eel. That's all I can think of right now.
See, this eel was struggling to survive. So he was employing the old folk remedy of inserting
I've
the
heard
eel into the
he
rectum
died,
to try to
but good
alleviate
Lord.
constipation. With many sure to suggest that common sense would indicate the eel will tear through the person's organs. Doctors of China's Shanghai, learned an 8-inch oceanic dweller quickly bit through the victim's colon before lodging itself into his abdomen. The man admitting he inserted the eel into himself in hopes of solving a complication with his bowels, though he visited the hospital due to abdominal pain.
Really?
Guys, could y'all
I
imagine
wonder-
that interview in the ER? Sir, what did you do? I have an 8-inch eel up my butt. That nurse.
No. I have read so many of these articles that I can tell you exactly how it went.
Okay.
It was something like this. So yeah, you've come in with abdominal pains. Can you give us any insight as to what might have happened? Well, I can't be sure, but I sat down on my tub of eels, and I think one of them may have entered my butthole. Oh, really? Wow, that's so odd. Why were you naked?
I think he selected an eel because he thought it would be like one of those electrotherapies in his ass or something.
Yeah, the electro-bovine ejaculator.
The prostate stimulation or whatever.
Oh, God.
Coming next
Well, you
year
see,
from-
Doc, I was trying to kill myself an electric eel.
coming next year from Taiga.
It's probably more like so. What's
Strictly for the Chinese market.
Yes, it's probably more like oh, you got some abdominal pain. What could you think of the problem? Well, there was an eel. Say no more.
Yeah. Well, it all
Hold up,
started
we
with
got
my
this. We
rectum.
understand,
Oh,
sir.
okay. It's like they've got a code brown in China. All right, guys, we got another code brown.
what?
I've heard of a brown snake.
They've got a marker board in the staff room with bets taken. Hot Wheels car eel. Who had eel? Who had eel? That one scene from what was it? Cabin in the Woods?
No, Lance. Let me do this. Having read so many of these, I can tell you exactly how the ER interview went or whatever. Before the doctor even before the guy even opens his mouth, because he's ready to tell the story he's been preparing about how he had an itch, so he stuck the fish close to his butt. All these stories. The doctor stops and is like, "Hold up, is it in your butt or your urethra?" Okay.
Sir, was this sounding? Because it's sounding a lot like bullshit.
So, an operation performed by experts led to the eel being successfully extracted, though the critter was surprisingly still alive after its dark and grotesque ordeal. The man was informed by medical experts that he could have succumbed to hemolysis, that's something to do with blood. Hemolysis. He could have succumbed to hemolysis and died. The condition being when red blood cells are eradicated due to bacteria from the large intestine making its way to the abdomen. Putting off acquiring help from doctors, the man explained he initially felt shy about the whole thing and hesitant to look for help. Survival of the fittest, guys. Due to being a folk remedy, there have been many instances in the past where Chinese citizens tried shoving an eel up their butt, hoping it would end their constipation. Bullshit. Tell me what they're trying to cure by shoving shit up their penis? What kind of folk remedy is that?
I'm trying to cure my penile pain with something that's drastically more painful.
Look, man, if you hurt yourself enough, you won't feel the other pain anymore.
I guess that's true.
All right, so I'm going to
redirect this dick pain to more dick.
Next two topics. So a pervert produced a spare key for a woman's residence to steal her pantsuit.
How does it always come back to this? Okay.
38-year-old delinquent was
Delinquent?
A 38-year-old delinquent was arrested after it was found he invaded the home of a woman 2 years ago for the purpose of thieving her panties. A task the deranged man accomplished by producing a spare key for her home. Male criminal Noriaki Horage broke into a Chiba residence belonging to a woman aged in her 50s back in May 2019 using a spare key.
Granny panties.
There he thieved 29 pairs of panties.
Jesus Christ.
He just stole all of her underwear that wasn't in the wash.
Look, man, some of that stuff was from Victoria's Secret like 30 years ago.
The pervert admitted to his misdeeds and was quoted as saying, "Since I was obsessed with her, I wanted to steal her underwear." I love how See, this is the difference. In Japan, when you're caught in an embarrassing situation, you're like, you just own up to it. In China, they're like, I didn't know I couldn't put eels up my butt. Like,
look, me and that eel were in love, and this is the best way I can explain it.
So police say Horage, who resides in Chiba's Kashiwa City, was employed at a manufacturer and seller of machine parts, and that the woman was a colleague. Stealing her house key from her purse at their place of occupation, the criminal took note of the serial number and used it to make a copy, then found out her address through a life insurance company's website. This is the second instance of Horage being arrested, with the first being unlawful access to the aforementioned website. So, there you go. Apparently, you can do criminal-type things with your machine learning shop, whatever it was. Moving on. All right, an unemployed man murders his parents over interrupting his anime watching.
Oof.
What the fuck? Arrest this man. Oh, he's already arrested.
So a mentally unwell man without a job was arrested for murdering his parents after stuffing their corpses into a refrigerator after he grew frustrated taking care of them all the time, as it would interrupt his vital anime binging. Now, guys, I have some extra information here. Officers were working off of a tip, and they found the bodies inside a glass door industrial refrigerator.
Glass door reviews.
Again.
The 88-year-old father and 87-year-old mother lived together with their 59-year-old unemployed son at a residence in Fukuoka City's Nishiku, but were one day found dead and stuffed into a refrigeration case by their aforementioned son, who was growing tired of their constant interruptions to his anime watching as they required frequent nursing care due to their age.
Why weren't they in a nursing home or something? Sorry, continue.
Well, you'll understand.
Okay,
Police believe the stress of having to commit to long-term care obviously led to this sudden freak reaction. The son was arrested on suspicion of abandoning a corpse. The disgruntled son admitted he performed the murders, and the final straw was when one of his parents requested he help them to go to the bathroom. The criminal explained, "Whenever my parents asked for help, it was bothersome as it interrupted the anime I was watching. I just couldn't take it anymore." The 59-year-old unemployed man said.
59, yeah.
Furthermore, the son was living off their parents' pension. His mother was bound to a wheelchair, and his father recently fell off of a bicycle and had been hospitalized for a time, forcing the son to take care of them both.
That's the least he could fucking do.
The refrigerator was also taped shut. Forgot to mention that part. Says here, Matsumoto decided to kill his parents after his father, Hirokazu, asked him for help using the bathroom. He told police that he strangled his father with an electrical cord. I like Wendy Tran. LOL. Right. Like that's the response. All right. So I'm gonna save these. I don't know if they're gonna be worth reading anyway. And I wanna come back to this one when I've got more time. So let us discuss Hellsing.
Yay.
Yay.
You can do it.
Actually, let's talk about this real quick, just because I don't think an article is going to get written about it, and I want to be able to close this tab. So they're making an Arpil O'Neil compilation book, and they couldn't be bothered to spell April correctly.
Yeah.
So the cover says Arpil, and it's also quite hideous, as you can see. Arpil O'Neil. There you go, from IDW Publishing. I'll fire that editor. All right,
Nah, they won't do that.
So let us discuss the many amazing things about Hellsing Ultimate.
Well, this will
You guys
be a
have any
difficult
thoughts?
podcast. No.
I like
What?
I have an
a
entire
lot.
tweet chain.
Yeah.
God.
So
Well-
there were a lot of unexpected things in Hellsing for me. I didn't expect Alucard to get Alucarded,
Yep.
which is our verb for butt fucked. All right, so here we go.
Wait,
I'm pulling up
No.
our tweets.
Well, I'm gonna probably back out. I didn't actually watch it, so
You've never seen it? You've never seen Hellsing Ultimate?
no, I have not.
Dan, they fight the only thing more evil than vampires. Nazis.
Yeah, no, I know they end up fighting like they're Nazi vampires, aren't they, or something like that? Some of them are.
Nazi vampires.
Nazi vampires, Nazi werewolves, Nazis.
Naughty Nazis.
Nazi Nazis.
Can't
Nazi-
see
Yeah,
that.
I have a general idea of the story, but yeah, I never really, I just didn't have the time to sit
The
down
The
and watch it.
KKK.
Dan, look who else is in it.
That's the church, right? The
That's
Catholic
the
Church.
All right. Well,
Anyhow. So, but
Yeah,
I
man.
don't really have anything to contribute, so I will. I'll have.
you've got work in the morning too. I understand.
Yeah,
Have a good one.
I'll let you
I'll talk to
guys
you
have
later.
at it.
Keep it
Have
real,
a good
Dan.
one, guys.
Do
Right.
I need to leave because as usual I usually don't contribute much.
No, you don't need to leave. Yeah, so yeah, Bruce Willis was the spirit of Alucard's gun. I was not expecting that. Let's see.
I mean, I get Die Hard, Armageddon, and The Sixth Sense. What's the other one?
There was more. This is Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay. I've never actually seen Pulp Fiction.
Okay. As soon as I get there.
You guys are sure right about the whole gun spirit thing adding up to nothing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I guess we'll start here. Yeah. Let's start with this. So I said rewatching episode 1 of Hellsing Ultimate, I finally remembered what it was specifically I liked better about the original. It was Integra's introduction to Alucard. I also found Sarah's victorious encounter with the vampire priest had more meaning in the original Hellsing because just like Integra's introduction to Alucard, they rushed it in Hellsing Ultimate, right? Because they just tried to get through it quickly, get on with the action. And do you have anything to say about this, FDM?
I mean, when we get to my tweets, it will pinpoint the things that I thought at the time. Because I do definitely have some follow-ups for that.
Well,
But
here's
I
the
wrote
Doodle
off.
Derple. And I had to just gush about how much I love this guy's voice.
Steven Brands, yeah.
Oh, so good with the accent. Loved it.
Yeah. If there was one thing I remembered from watching the original was how iconic his voice was.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love how he pronounces the word Earth, the Earth.
Yeah.
This face just screamed, "Hey, girl!" Right. So I said, "Are those mirrors in your panties? Because I don't see any vampires in them." Yeah, and it said, "I am your gun, the spirit of Hakonnen," which I read. I had to turn on subtitles because I rewound it numerous times and I kept hearing, "I am the great Hulk Hogan." Right?
Brother.
And then this part where the Nazi guy starts singing the opening to Fist of North Star 2. Welcome to this crazy time.
Well,
what is it? You have arrived in the era of madness. You're a tough boy, right?
Yep.
And then Alucard says, "No, your highness is without a doubt even more beautiful today." So I said, it's official. Alucard sims the queen. By the way, these tweets have gotten more likes than any other Watch Club's tweets have. Perhaps because it's got Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate in the hashtags, but I don't know.
I like how the queen doesn't come up again later to, like, I don't know, congratulate the 2 surviving people of humanity.
Sure the queen's dead. Remember the president's entire cabinet gets infected or whatever with the vampirism?
Yeah. I just remember it's like that scene with Alucard and the Queen in a bridge. It's like reminded me of when I warmed your bed during the Blitz.
Dude, I completely forgot what you said, so I sent the wrong reply to your tweet, thinking the Nazi height was taller. So then I had to invert it. I'm like, oh, damn it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because if you look at the way the perspective is going, right? Mm-hmm. It indicates that this is the height of the Nazis.
The
right?
people closer to you.
So that means that if you were to continue the perspective, that the Nazis
are like the
at
generals are like 10 foot.
Yeah, right. And then even Schrodinger is taller than them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I hated this character, by the way.
Yeah, the design is awful.
Awful. I liked the concept for what the character did, but the design was hideous. This character I also didn't like with his exposed stomach. And
I was so underwhelmed with him. I thought he was supposed to be a mini boss, but he was just like, oh, I was like the scientist. And it's like, oh, okay.
And then, they straight up reference Nakatomi Plaza, Ving Rhames, and all these things. That's Fox Plaza in real life. Okay.
your dog have a cup of milk. Rhys.
Sorry, my wife was going to take the dog.
Oh, never mind.
What's up, Rhys and Lance?
No, I was going to tell Rhys something while you were having your time with your wife. But it's work cool.
Okay.
Go on, buddy.
Save the screaming gang boss from being sodomized. Yeah, we already
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi got name dropped. Anyway, and then Weeaburger said, "Why no Spike the dog from Rugrats Go Wild?"
Jesus Christ!
So I said, Twitter would only let me post 4 images. I'm sure that was one of the many other ones many of the other roles they covered.
No, I think those 4 were the only ones. Really.
No, there was one more.
There
was one more. Anyway, here's your
Barrage. Yeah, one of my biggest problems with the whole thing is, as expected, they're continuing to use the psycho badass expressions on every goddamn character at every scene. So you think everything they do is so significantly badass, or like, oh, they're a big threat. But you get so desensitized to it because when everyone's crazy, no one's crazy. It's just like, oh, great, that's another normal person. And the moment things... something's going wrong for that character that was badass smiling, then, suddenly they're like, oh, whimpering and fear and all this stuff. It's like, wow, shows how much of a badass they were.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I really did not like the way that they drew Alucard's mouth compared to in the original Hellsing.
I can't really comment on that. I'd have to see a comparison.
I just thought that the shape of his mouth with the teeth and everything looked really homeless.
Oh, by the way, that tweet, I only tagged the 3rd or something tweet in my chain because I forgot about the tag. So I had a couple tweets before that were talking about the first episode.
Don't worry. When I go through it, I will make sure to get them out for your promotion status. So anyway,
no, I'm saying, well, no, that's what I want to address because, yeah.
Got rid of Saris's choice after the drawn-out ghoul fight. / look.
Yeah, because she actually telepathically communicated with Alucard. He's like, "Well, girl, blah blah blah, want to become a vampire or whatever." In the original, remember, right? And she kind of had to accept it, but I mean, at least she verbalized it in her head or whatever, and then then she got shot. But in this one, he's just like. Yeah, she chose it, right?
Doesn't he shoot her first? And it's like, hey, by the way, you want to die right now, or you want me to bite you?
By the way, you remember how she loses her arm later? What happened to that giant hole in her titty in the beginning? Why wasn't there a gaping hole left? No, she has this shadow arm that is just energy. But what? She doesn't have this shadow hole in her titty, does she? Correct me if I'm wrong. That healed over with her vampire power.
What did you think of that moment where her uniform gets blood red?
I'm not.
What?
I just dropped out, but I was just saying, how did her arm not heal back? With her vampire powers.
I feel like it was more powerful for it to not be there, was the thing. So I gotta say, when I first watched it, I really wish I had been able to see the whole series when it first was coming out. Because I was so into it when I first watched it. And my rewatch, where I actually got past episode 4, I was very underwhelmed with the second half of the show. There was very few things in it that I thought were handled well. And I just felt like they dragged out a lot of the stuff, especially the Major. God, what an anticlimactic ending. Oh, he's a robot. Jesus Christ, who gives a shit?
He's a robot, and his whole motivation for everything was, I want to kill Alucard. Why?
Yeah, I was I almost got onto the tip of my seat for a second when Anderson was going to stab himself with the relic.
Oh yeah,
and then he turned into a fucking tree or whatever. I'm like, wow, this is stupid. You know. So it's very well animated, like legitimately gorgeously well animated in a lot of ways. A little bit too much CGI.
Yeah.
But,
apparently
it has this really big feel to it. If you compare that opening scene when Bitch was running away and Saris uses the sniper and snipes her from a bajillion miles away for the first time, it is so radically differently animated, like this perspective changing. But they did recycle the one shot twice, which was kind of funny. But yeah. Dude, you're missing my first 3 tweets. Just scroll like way to the top.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Let's do this chronologically.
Apparently,
click on this.
Hellsing Ultimate was animated by multiple studios over the course of time, not all done by one. So obviously the quality.
Madhouse, Graphinica, or whatever the hell it's called, Satellite.
Satellite, yeah, or whatever. Yeah, Satellite. I always call it Satellite for some reason, so Satellite. Satellite.
All right, starring Hellsing Ultimate, and off the bat, there is so much wrong. Uncle has a different hair color, if I remember correctly, because now he's blonde instead of, I think it was black hair in the original. And Integra somehow can run inside the air vent. Did you guys realize that?
She wasn't in the air vent. She was running in the basement.
No, bull crap. That was the air vent. She was in the air vent canonically. How the hell did she hear Uncle Guy when she was in the hallway with him?
Well,
and, what?
Carry on.
Yeah, so she was in the air vent, then suddenly she's at a full run, and I'm like, okay, cool. I guess they're making it dramatic. Like, oh, I still bring up the point, like, this is a problem in the original that's, like, really? You overhear the rumor that you go to the basement to be safe? And, you know, that's exactly where the guy's heading right now. So it's like, yeah, let's head right to the place that he's going to catch me instead of staying hidden in the freaking vent and waiting for Walter to get back because they said, Walter's going to get back tomorrow. Oh.
So there's a couple of problems with it that I'll address real quick, which is that, first of all, I liked it better in Hellsing rather than Hellsing Ultimate because it seemed like an accident. Right, it seemed like she stumbles in there, then she gets shot by her uncle, and the blood that sprays out of her wound is what Alucard drinks from, right? So it's like that is like the first drop of blood he's had in God knows how many years, right? So it kind of seems like she not saves him, but makes him regain his strength in that moment, right? And that it's kind of like poetic, I guess, in a way that she has to get shot and like gravely wounded for him to come to her rescue, kind of thing. And I felt like it didn't quite present it in the same way when it came to the Ultimate series, and that I just thought it was handled better in the original. But honestly, why was Alucard in the basement to begin with? Why didn't her father use him at all?
I don't.
Is it because her father was such a fucking badass he didn't need Alucard?
Maybe like he had to be so fucking starved that first drop of blood was like a pact, like a master and servant thing.
Be. Yeah,
like, he couldn't have him like because he wasn't starved enough 20 years ago or whatever.
The way I kind of saw it was like, without explaining it, it was probably something like, kind of like how Goku, when he exists, he brings danger to people just by being who he is. So kind of like same thing is like once Alucard is there, that's when Anderson was like, "Oh no, I can't have you." Like we let bygones be bygones with you Protestant scum. But now that you're harboring a vampire, you know, so they were kind of on them, and then the Nazis showed up and everything. Plus, they had Walter.
So
where was Walter during that exchange?
So Alucard and Walter were active during the 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 60 years ago. So something happened 40 years later. Something happened in the 80s, or maybe even before then. Or no, it had been before. Like that was 10. So that was 90s. because this is like 99, 98 or something when Hellsing Ultimate takes place.
Uh-huh.
And so that was 10 years prior when Integra woke him up or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, because she's like 20.
And then
Keep going, guys. I'm back.
so like something happened between the then and then for Alucard to be chained up for some reason. Because he was active, fighting with Hellsing, with Walter in the 40s against the Nazis.
That's true. Which, by the way, I watched the single episode that was The Dawn or whatever the hell that was.
Mhm.
When Walter and Alucard were presumably going to fight together, but you don't get to see the fight because there's only one episode on the disc. So that was great, but yeah.
Funimation dropped the ball on that one.
So I'll lead into
that part.
what?
What
So
happened?
I'll lead into the part where what is it? So that beginning, yeah, it was way worse in Ultimate. The exposition is forced and unnatural AF, bro. Like literally, he's walking down the hallway. Is like, I, the uncle, the other person, am the worthy one of the inheritance and all this crap. Like it was so.
When you're gonna rush through a story, you have to do stuff like that.
Mhm.
But it makes it feel even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
they
they
basically
literally.
covered one volume of manga per episode, basically.
Well, like it
Well,
would have
it
been better
felt
for her
like-
to say he's trying to kill me to take over the thing instead of saying, "Ha I'm trying to kill you to take over the thing." You know what I mean? You could have handled it differently. Obviously,
Dude,
that's not Funimation's fault.
They could have handled it way better because they spend weird amounts of time on things. Like I'll get to this later in the chain, but it's like they spend extra time on stuff that is stupid and doesn't matter, and they like really abridge the parts that are important. So they could, in the first episode, they spent a lot of time on one thing. It was like, yeah, the vampire fight scene in the graveyard and stuff like that. It's like, oh my god, they drew this out so long just so they could have a slightly flashier like opening introduction where they could have spent that going, oh, I'm dying in my bed. You're in charge of the Hellsing Ultimate. The Hellsing Ultimate right now. Like they could have taken that extra time for like so you didn't have to like force this exposition and stuff, but they didn't because I don't know, that was just really stupid. So then, it wouldn't have happened if they didn't cram everything together. With all those changes, when Integra is in a tent, she gives a more forced exposition. Oh, that was so cringe as well. Because Integra, they're just like, yeah, let's put her in a tent and have her like talking to these military guys and just getting these reactions out of them. Because this was one of those really, once again, prime example of why. Oh wait, no, that's the art style. It was so tooly how it's like, you must understand, these are ghouls. And then you see all of these police people like cowering in fear at every single word. It's like, oh, what? No, they can't be ghouls. It's like, oh, stop.
Yeah. So I'll say this. Remember we talked about the guy behind John Wick is greenlit to do a live action Hellsing series.
Yeah.
So egg on my face for having not watched Hellsing Ultimate because I didn't realize that Alucard was legitimately Dracula.
Well, I don't remember the context of what you were saying before.
I called him out for not having any idea what the show was about because I was talking about the original Hellsing and not Hellsing Ultimate.
Oh.
And apparently, at one point in the episode or in Hellsing Ultimate, he literally is referred to as Dracula.
Yes.
Right when he grows the beard.
Yeah, I mean, he is Dracula.
Apparently.
But so the other thing I say in that tweet is how I hate the art style so much.
He
Like,
kind of looks like a Hey Arnold character over there.
Like, look at what's his name?
Walter.
Walter. His head, if you cut it in half, like it's half proportion. I mean, sorry, his head is twice as long as it is like
Wide.
thick. Like it. Everyone looks like that, and it looks awful. And then, as I show you here, this also applies to earlier when the uncle said, what had the super evil-looking grin. But this is where you see a cocky smirk on when he's lighting Integra's cigar. Just look at him. He's like, I'm lighting her cigars. She's look at you guys cowering in fear over her speech. Like, that's why? Why do you have to make freaking Walter just casually be like, this is a badass show, isn't it?
Rhys,
like,
you know you're super fast clapping.
Oh no.
Can we just cut that over a bunch of shots from this show with the close up on the people smirking?
I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just really a place, and obviously they're trying their damnedest to make everything feel crazy or as badass as possible, but it comes off looking forced AF. As expected, they're continuing to use the Psycho Bass thing. That's kind of where we started. They got rid of Sarah's choice, like I was saying. Yeah, her introduction to the vampire life was really casual, because she was just like, as you said, with the like, here's the mirror, ding, I'm a vampire or whatever. But she just like casually accepts it. And a big thing they gloss over is that in the original, it was like, here's your daily blood, and they have like 2 or 3 shots of her just not touching it, and she's like, it shows her struggle with vampirism and stuff. Whereas in this, it's just like 2 episodes in or whatever, and she's already gone into like super rage kill mode, and then it's like, I haven't had a drop of blood yet, or like Integra says that, and it's like, are you kidding me? How did you go into that vampiric rage without your vampiric blood? Like, that's what happened in the original. You had a taste of blood, and then you went back, like turned into
crazy.
I mean, yeah, I guess vampire. But like
crazy.
like
Seemed
that's
a
what
lot
I'm
more
saying.
willing to drink blood in Ultimate.
Exactly. It felt like there's no implications of struggle with accepting the vampirism.
There was a little bit of like rejection of the idea, but
that was after she already performed like 50 badass vampire things. Like just goes right into Sarah spontaneously being badass, and I'm referring specifically to the Alucard and Anderson fight, where suddenly I don't know, there's just a lot of zombies, and it's like, right when she's about to get mauled by all the zombies, she turns into the badass, and it's like,
her takedown. What were the guys' names? The
Valentine's brothers. Maybe I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Her takedown
actually
was so funny in Hellsing compared to Hellsing Ultimate. It's just drawn in such a funny way.
Yeah, there's no development at all. She's just an automatic badass. She's so badass that she doesn't need to reload and can shoot her sniper like a machine gun. Then she gets all excited to make her and has a tooly grin that makes the audience think, wow, she's crazy. In the original, the grin actually would work since there was time between where you could take the character seriously. Then when they are in the spotlight, they shine that much brighter. Brighter. Yeah, because it's like I said, if you're always crazy, nothing's crazy. But if you have all these moments of people acting normally, then you have the crazy, then it sticks out.
Right.
But because it's the default, it's valueless, as I put it. Also, fun fact, since forever when I hear the word Protestant, my brain auto-corrects it to prostate. There you go. Also, look at this terrible shot.
Is a dead prostate.
Dude, look at this this art of the other screenshot at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just look how hideous Saris looks in that. It literally looks like some shots of Alucard when Alucard looks hideous.
She looks like a happy child.
Yeah,
like they maximize the impact by waiting last second to let her burst out in a vampiric rage.
Think about this. The thing that's kind of like really telling about the show is that Saris is supposed to be the hot character. And you look at all the other females in the entire show, and they're pretty hideous. Right? Like
Basically.
Integra, if you mistook
She's
her for
basically
a
a
man,
man.
yeah, like she's literally Sir Integra, right?
Right.
So you'd be no
Well,
one would
she's
blame
probably
you for
knighted. That's
misgendering
why.
her. Yeah, right. She is right, of course. But I'm just saying that like she doesn't come across as feminine. Whereas the show we're going to watch next, Black Lagoon, Revi, Balalaika, Roberta, they're all
Very feminine.
very feminine looking. You know what I mean? In
Dude,
spite
Sarah's,
Oh.
if you like that picture you have of her with those giant cannons, like she has hideous proportions. She's got like the most broadest shoulders, and her waist is the thinnest, not waist, her hips are super thin. So she just looks like a really macho dude, and her oversized balloon
Cannons?
titties
Her cannon.
just
You
kind
said
of.
it.
I cannot
like,
believe we did not use this during the Tamers article.
Wow. Wow, you're right. God. Yeah, like her titties just like unbalances it even more. It looks hideous, looks awful. But like I see the potential in her character design. But it's just such a poor execution. But yeah, they're literally artificial, using every trick in the book to maximize the impact. So, and it's so obvious.
I'll say this:
And
as a kid, or well, I guess even now, I own a figure of Saris, where she's got one arm, and I didn't put it together until the part right before she lost her. I'm like, oh shit, that's probably part of the show. She's gonna lose her arm.
The
This
things you
scene
realize
sticks out.
later on. in
And
life.
I was thinking so hard, like, I think her costume's a different color. It's like blue or something, isn't it? Like the
I know she has a red one later
and
on.
then right before it turned red, I'm like, no, wait, it was red. You know, like I'm pulling up an image.
My God. Nice hair.
I know. It's doing everything it shouldn't. Does it look stuttery to you guys, or?
No,
is it just
you're
annoying?
trying
Brett,
to smooth at
AC?
1,000 frames a
AC,
second.
you look fine, brother. Take it from me. You know. Ah!
Okay, here we go. Here's the proportions. Yes, that's a good look for me. That's the thumbnail right there.
What? You're just screen sharing again.
Oh, well, it was still on me when I saw it. There's your proportions.
Yeah, and that shading on the arms makes it look like, well, she's turbo macho muscular guy.
It's weird to see a character like this in a miniskirt.
And the Gurren Lagann pose is really making it look like, look how badass I am.
Right. So then also here is not the a la carte scene.
Oh yeah, I guess it's worth noting there is a nip count of 1 in Hellsing. I didn't expect that.
Was it a la cards? Because I kind of forgot.
No, it was when Saris's mom got wrapped.
Dracula. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Her corpse got wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Well, okay, yeah, I need to remember to double check. I think I'm pretty sure I didn't put
The thumbnail was that Dracula.
Yes. I chose that because I thought it would get more people rather than what's his name's
Pip's
kissy face.
kissy face, that French
Pip's
asshole.
kissy face.
Oh,
Kiss and
gosh.
face and
Pip's
French
asshole
asshole.
face.
That's not something I'd ever really want to search.
There you go.
Well, you don't have to search it. It's right here.
That's
Yep.
fair. That's very fair.
That's what we call a French asshole.
All right. So, anything else, FDM? You got more here?
Yeah, like that was a scene where they showed that Saris didn't actually drink any blood at that point, so it's really stupid.
Yeah.
And
So
then
see
was it?
her Berserker mode or whatever like this?
Oh yeah, she got the burst of vampire power by the power of anime, because it wasn't from the blood. brings in the old people to halt the fight between Alucard and Anderson. I don't know what happened, but you hear Sarah say, Kochi desuyo, which I realized after the fact it was the Japanese tour group, so it kind of contextually makes sense. I thought it was an error. I'm like, how'd that slip in? And then the picture I show after that is, well, Jotaro is a Nazi confirmed. How many times do they shoot Alucard to pieces, then surprise everyone with, what? He's not dead? Oh, no, he's going to kill us. Like, that happened
I'll be
3
honest,
times.
The last couple episodes were a chore to get through.
It felt like that for
to
me as
work on
well.
other stuff. And
Well,
I
I had so little hope in the show because literally, like, virtually everyone you cared about possibly was dead. There was literally, like, only 3 possible characters you could care about. Alucard was out of the picture for a while, and it's just like, man, I don't expect anything good from this at this point. Like,
I loved the bit when Integra was, like, getting grilled by the Catholics. And she basically just talked her way into having them escort her back to the mansion.
I thought part of that was... Actually, no. I thought that the visual part of that was really stupid because they used the chibi, funny moment when it's like, light my cigar. Are you kidding me? You're asking to get your cigar lit in the middle of this? It's like, shut up! Why do you have to narrate? You should just say, listen here, bitch. I ask you a question. You answer to me. Like, that's what they're supposed to.
Those characters felt very underutilized, and then when they died, it was like, wow, I don't give a shit.
It was disgusting when that one chick got her mouth blown out, and it's just like, and she's still alive after the time skip. I'm like, oh,
that was a
whoa.
guy.
That was a Hanko? Yeah, that was a dude.
Well, they were voiced by a chick.
Well,
either way.
A lot of dudes are voiced by chicks. This is anime. Where have you been?
Yeah, but they're also like 2 years old when they're voiced by chicks, or like the harem protagonist. You're right, Luffy. Yeah. So after that, I say, what is it? And how many times does that have to happen before they stop taking 7 years to build up suspense? And yeah, like 2 of the 3 times they took forever to build up the suspense of, oh, he's dead and gone. It's like, oh my god, just get it over with.
I feel like if you were to do a live action adaptation of this, if you were to skip the introduction with Ceres, or not even have Ceres in it at all, although I'm sure they would, just because that would be something that they wouldn't.
To be fair, she is kind of pointless because I felt like the whole point of her character was, she's a normal person that's been dragged into this crazy Hellsing organization.
She's like the viewer insert character almost.
Yes, so but then they just turn her into another badass vampire, and it's like, well, what's the point? There's nothing to relate to here anymore.
If I were the one producing the live action and I was supposed to make a bunch of cuts, what I would do is I would take Ceres and I would mix her with Integra's character, right? Because nobody wants to see in real life the butch lesbian that controls the super powerful vampire. They want to see the hot chick that controls the super powerful vampire.
Oh,
right.
Now, Integra, she amounted to nothing as well.
So I would right. But what I'm saying is that you need the character at least to string along part of the story with the organization and everything, right? So I would combine those characters, and then I would have. I would cut out a bunch of the generals for the Nazis, like Schrodinger was kind of unnecessary.
Well, I mean, like.
But what about his cat? I mean,
his power needs give his power to like the wolf guy or something.
Well, just saying, like, I think that you could do the story to do it as a movie. I'm saying to do this as a movie.
To do it as a live action movie and make it decent. I'm following.
Right. So if you're going to do it as a movie, you're going to jump right into the Nazi stuff, right?
Hold on, they might not even do the Nazi stuff because that's a touchy subject.
No, I'm saying if I'm making the decisions on how to adapt this,
right,
I would go right into the Nazi stuff. Like I would literally open the movie
with the Nazis,
with the major talking, right, and I would slowly reveal that you're on a Nazi airship, right? That's how I would do it. Right.
I think
so,
I would
have the speech with the Germany accent, just to sort of set the scene and establish, it's been 60 years or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Here we are, like, war is wonderful or whatever, right? And
Dude,
then
I know why the Nazis were so underwhelming. Because, you get excited for the Nazis and everything, but they were underwhelming because you have freaking vampires that are way more horrendous than Nazis. Because Nazis, they have to be organized by, their masters and stuff. And, like, they didn't even chlorine gas people and stuff. Like, they literally just were there, and they were soldiers that have the name Nazi. It's like,
they ate a baby or whatever.
But that's a vampire. That wasn't because they're a Nazi.
I mean, they did Naruto run for a little while there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so, where's my tweet? Hold on. Hold on, I gotta pull up my tweet about, what did I say? From the Hidden Reich Village.
I mean, basically.
Boy, my internet is going. I mean, the internet's fine. It's the computer is just feedbacking very slowly. Where are you?
Feed me, computer.
Did anybody notice that pretty much almost every single named character always wore gloves?
I think that's an artistic thing, like
how Naruto has all those sandals because he likes to draw toes.
I'm just double
Wait,
checking.
is that an actual thing?
No explicit.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. Like, the reason he gave all the characters sandals is because he likes to draw toes.
That's kind of
Gross.
weird.
All right,
I mean, it does sound like that way when you
I guess
isolate it,
it simplifies making footwear, and so you just have to draw toes instead of different
not
style
really,
shoes.
because if you draw just one giant, round line, and then fill it in, you have a shoe.
He's I'm kind of with Foot. I'm kind of understand where Footham's coming with this. Yeah, it does add significant amounts of work to the. So yeah, I hope he is like really into feet, because goddamn. The way that, like, anytime they show like toes and stuff in Naruto, I remember watching it and thinking about this now. It's like, yeah, that was uncalled for. They could have literally gave them better footwear and been better ninjas.
Yeah, they had
like
to
sneak up on someone with wood shoes, bitch. I am the Hokage.
Yeah, ninjas from the
I am the
Hidden Reich
Hokage
Village
straight.
just showed up. Anyway, so let's power through the rest of this, because I'm getting really tired. Because I've taken 4 melatonin, which is like 20 milligrams.
You're gonna overdose. I get to how the Nazi monologue was so unbelievably long and boring, and his character was not built up as an evil guy. He felt like he was designed to be evil.
I liked the performance, so I'll put it.
Yeah, Gildo Jackson
better
made this series to me.
He got better when the Funimation sets or Funimation dubs took over. The original one sounded kind of weird.
It's the same guy.
I know, but his acting got better.
To me. Well, yeah, but naturally, it's been years. He's gotten better at his craft.
Yeah,
he's done his.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying he got better eventually.
This Blu-ray special feature for the karaoke speech, he did it over and over again until he perfected it.
That was funny. This is a random thing to point out, but the Hellsing Blu-rays use DTS Master Audio, which they always use Dolby True HD, so that was kind of weird, and we already kind of went over this behind the scenes. And I don't know if that affected the mixes, because the audio sounded like ass. Like, the dynamics were so unbalanced. Like, you heard all these guns and explosions, and then the voices were, like, comfortably louder than the explosions and everything.
The music is on every single track.
I'm gonna say, spoiler warning, the Black Lagoon ones are exactly the same. And I think it's because that Ocean Group dubbed it. And so the audio is coming from Ocean Group.
That makes sense.
The Ocean Group didn't dub this, but basically what I'm saying is the 5.1 track or whatever. What? Crispin Freeman's not the Ocean Group.
Yeah, but I think Genion used. Oh no, they used Bang Zoom, right?
No, it was Ocean Group.
Was it?
For who?
Mhm.
For what?
For
They
both
used
of
it
them.
for Black Lagoon.
Black
but not
Lagoon and
for-
Hellsing.
What?
All right, here we go. Yeah, let's find out.
Internet
Getting
man.
called out on the spot. Here it comes, guys. Somebody's blood in the water.
Hey, it's not me this time.
Match. But Crispin Freeman is not from BC, so that can't be the Ocean Group unless they
From
hybridize.
BC
it.
meaning British Columbia.
Yeah,
Okay.
the home of all the druggies. I mean, what?
Hellsing Ultimate. So did Genion routinely use Ocean Group?
They
Would
used
make
to
sense.
periodically use it.
God, my internet is so fucking slow. I mean, it's not the internet; it's the computer. But you know what I mean. I don't even know what it is. It's like when I was in Photoshop, or I was showing you guys that thing I was working on. I was trying to do like the selection tool, and it's like I would scroll up, and the selection tool, like graphically, wasn't coming with me, so I'd have to like click and then zoom out and zoom back in to see where it actually was.
How dare the selection tool not come with me?
How can I not
Why?
get there? Jesus. Enter.
It wasn't the
I
joke
guess
that
it
got me.
says
It was the way you undulated your voice at the
Central
end. I
Command
was like, God damn
Studio.
it.
Sure. God, that was a pain in the ass. Okay, here we are. Hellsing Ultimate. English companies.
Central Command Studio.
Themes: gore, Nazis, religion.
Is that what it said, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I wonder if I can click on the Nazi theme and see
Why
what
don't you
they're
Control F or sorry, Command F?
it's right
Ocean.
Digimon. No ocean.
Digimon.
You can even just like look up I don't know, frickin' dub studio or whatever the hell the category is. I'm telling you,
English
like
companies. ADR was
like-
New Generation Pictures. Audio layback was Soundscape. Central Command.
Yep, Central, wherever that is.
well, that ain't Ocean.
Main Ocean.
How dare you, Rhys?
Well,
You
I
betrayed
was
us.
confident it was out of house for Funimation, that's for sure.
Well, of
You
course
have
it was,
betrayed us like
because-
Walter did.
Of course it was because
Central
frickin' Cheon
Command.
dubbed it.
Studios.
Here's the
Well, while
official
you're
website.
looking into further information, apparently episode 7 got dubbed and the scriptwriters forgot they haven't met their profanity quota, so they sure cranked it up in this episode. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Profanity quota.
And we
Um,
followed the wild geese a lot more, so of course the roughnecks.
And I said,
the roughnecks are
said,
going to be foul mouthed.
I see why Random 11 said that episode 7 was hard to get through because what
Why
is
is
it?
there a picture of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen right here?
What the hell? So episode 7 is when Saris lost her arm, and then you see the like really the what how would you describe it? Her really dark flashback, which
The rap?
yeah, the rappers,
The rapist.
like that was really horrible to see. But I think the worst part about the flashback was honestly just Saris getting shot and stuff, and I'm like, how is she alive? You're a child and you got shot. Like what? But
Children
the
have a
arm-
certain thing. They have a healing of like some kind of like their veins are closed up more readily than an adult veins will.
Their circulatory system is smaller, so blood gets from the heart back to the heart quicker, I guess.
Huh.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I've never heard that in my life.
But yeah, like when she lost her arm, I know how you've said before, Brad, that you're like, I have this Yeah,
I didn't realize you said the same thing I did. Are you kidding
I know,
me?
that's why
Alucard got Castlevania Alucarded before Alucard got Alucarded in Castlevania. Did Castlevania use
Dude, I
Hellsing
was
as an
thinking that
influence?
earlier.
That's probably where they got the idea in
You got
Castlevania.
avocado.
Yeah, but like, yeah, that was a struggle
Oh,
to
yeah.
get through.
I bet it was.
Her eye is so hard it protected her brain from getting damaged. I'm pretty
Right.
sure she got shot with a 22.
I
Which
don't
will
freaking
still
know.
kill you
A
if you
bullet's a
shoot
bullet.
someone in
It
the
goes
eye.
through your freaking eye and
I'm
into
just
your
gonna-
brain.
I grew up
No,
around
okay, so behind your eye is
The cavity of bone.
is a cavity with bone, right? So it ricochets around. You know, it's one of the
still
spots
through your
where
fucking eye, dude.
yeah, it definitely.
Like it's a miracle if you don't die, regardless, especially
Sure.
even if you're under any capacity. That's my only argument that
Sure.
that I'm gonna like push here. It's a miracle.
But like Integra, like the studio was so obsessed with making her have a really badass, like slow stroll to approaching him and killing him that she took too much time and got shot in the process. Like, good God, just shoot the bastard.
It was like so. Again, let's go back to our live action adaptation here. Things that aren't going to come across as good. So things that are going to come across great is all the people in London getting eaten, right? That'll look great on film. Things that won't look great. An entire army of Ku Klux Klan Catholics, right? That was so weird. And it's like 13,000 men. It's like, okay.
It's raining men.
Dude, episode 8, I feel like was probably A, the best, and B, probably the only one I really enjoyed, I guess. Just
I liked
because
it when Alucard became Dracula. That was about it.
that was the episode. But
That was it?
like
No, it was-
episode
it was-
8.
No, where was that one?
Yep.
You're right.
That was like
Sorry.
6, actually.
Sorry.
No. So episode 8 is the reason that was good is like I remember that from the Team 4-Star video. Like I glanced at my brother watching it and I remember seeing that, and that's what invigorated me of wow, Hellsing Ultimate looks like such a cool show. Nazis, KKK armies, and it's like what was the name
It's
of
got
that
everything
guy?
he's ever wanted.
What was the name of that guy with that?
It's so absurd and yet so funny because it's so true. It's like legitimately, even though you're absolutely not rooting for them, you just think like, oh, this anime has Nazis and the KKK. Shit, yeah, watch it. Like,
Exactly. But what's the name of that guy who wore the purple and had the accent, white
Maxwell?
hair? Yeah, so Maxwell, like when he basically went insane at that point. He's like, all right, the
Right in the,
victory.
I thought
And-
that was
glass
the
cage
boat.
on the back of the
he was
truck
in the
being carried
coats,
around by
like glass,
helicopters.
bulletproof.
yeah,
box.
the Pope mobile from the helicopter while he was commanding this army was such a freaking exhilarating
You're right.
moment.
That
It's
was
like,
probably the
dude,
greatest moment in the
everything's
whole
going
show.
down now. Like that's why I was like, damn, this is gonna get real right now. And then Alucard, honestly, it was underwhelming how Alucard came in and just was like, I'll one hit all of them at once. And I'm like, I mean, that's cool, but it's kind of underwhelming when you think about it. But either way, that episode was the most entertaining. But I mean, it ended on a low note because it's like, oh, Alucard's about to get analled or
He's on
whatever.
fire.
He quite literally was about to get analled because the start of the next episode he got anal.
So I don't know what it is about the Dracula backstory that I don't know, but this is not the first anime I have seen where the vampire guy has like a flashback to getting butt fucked as a kid.
Wait, what?
I
There
feel
was
like,
another one?
Alucard
well,
was
okay, no. I'm remembering it wrong. It's Nightwalker.
Dracula
I think
was
is
the Vlad Tepes.
Vlad
is that-
Tepes.
He got another type of impaling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he was the impalee this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a child. He was
Oh, no.
abused by he's like a child slave or something.
Okay.
Whatever. And he was abused by this noble or whatever asshole, and then that was it.
Okay, so all I'm saying is another character that isn't actually Dracula, that is
The
a vampire in a series. I think I remember it being called Nightwalker. There's like he thinks back on his like the vampire, the guy that turned him into a vampire, and he thinks like this is a character who's like the love interest for the main female, right? But he's remembering his former lover being a male thing, and it's like I'm just saying, like I feel like it happens more often. Like it happens to the point where you notice the trend, and you're like, well, that's kind of weird. I wouldn't have expected that, you know. So anyway, and
Isn't
then of
there
course
that one
Castlevania
hentai called Anal Vampire that they
What?
released?
No,
on
I've never
DVD?
Oh
heard of
yeah,
this.
I remember that one.
What the fuck?
Anyway, so I'm gonna go through my tweets real quick, and if you guys want to keep talking, you can. But I gotta get some.
You want to talk about butt vampire FDDM?
Butt vampire?
Yeah, your anal vampire.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Well,
you wanna
I
talk
just
about the
I just know the name. It's probably like a DVD I've seen like on Amazon or something.
It hasn't been released over here that I know of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm loving.
Well, maybe
I'm
it was
loving
on
thought
some
right now
sort
that
of
you
like
checked.
list or something of
It's
like
good to know
anime.
that I was
I'm
screen
like,
sharing that. That's wonderful. So, as I said for Pip, Sims for Sarah saves her, gets shot clean through the ass. Like
oh,
he's carrying
that
her
sucked.
around.
Pip was like getting really likable, and then it's like, oh, well, so much for that.
And
like
then
at that
pew,
point,
pew, right through the dick, right through the butthole.
wait, why didn't they make him a vampire and when he was dying? Couldn't they not have done that?
Seriously. Sarah
Well-
just had to wait.
Does Sarah's
Until he
have the
died.
ability to do that? Anyway,
I don't
continuing.
know, because like she got the pure vampire bloodline when she was sucked, right?
So do you guys remember when I was going through all the timestamps to create that thing?
I want this.
I
shit.
like war.
I want this
So-
shit so bad.
I'm pretty sure that it says I like warmth or something like that, but it's just folded in such a way.
I wouldn't pay money for a shit that said I like war with Olaf on it. I would pay
I like
$20
war.
for a shirt.
Just like Bleach
There's like
or
a minion
something
on the
other
tag.
side.
Or like a minion shirt that says genocide with a heart on it.
Holy shit! You know what? Just have like a bunch of minions, and every damn one of them are in like fucking some sort of knight armor. It's like get ready, friends.
The fact that Alucard is making this face, oh yeah, like
Yeah, that was really weird.
not a good.
He uses
like,
the "I'm still badass." Don't let this fool you.
Don't worry, dear viewer,
My
I'm
name is
still
Vlad
a badass.
Hi, I'm Vlad Tepes, and welcome to Jackass.
Well, you see, Chinese
Everyone's getting
doctor.
sucked on this episode. On today's episode, someone had to get something.
They called out the Alucard.
All right.
Ah.
So, guys, if you want to keep going, you're welcome to. But I've got to get some rest. I've got a big day of work
This
tomorrow.
was called the Screaming
I
Nazi.
get you actually.
Well, I
as
guess-
well.
I guess the
I
only
was
thing I
told-
can really say is that to wrap it up, it was a massive letdown. Everything felt like it amounted to nothing. It was all the chaos for the sake of chaos. It felt like it didn't value the characters or meaning in much of anything. And you get a meat-headed show for meatheads with Ultimate. And the ending sucked and
Yes.
was dumb.
I had fun.
It was
I
better than Incognito.
Better than
Right.
Yes.
Incognito by leaps and bounds.
But still falling flat from being...
I
I
was
don't know,
actually
go ahead.
disappointed that Alucard came back at the end. Like, I liked the finality that they finally killed him. And he's like, oh, yeah, I
I
just
thought
had
it
to kill
was
about
such a
30
lame
million
way they
people.
killed him. It's like,
Oh.
he is now
Yeah.
Schrodinger because he got greedy and
Yeah,
just
I
killed
kind of wish
Walter.
he had stayed dead when Alexander had killed him.
Also,
You know?
Walter, top 10 anime betrayals. Like, what was that? That was stupid and uncalled for.
They had-
Everyone's
well, they had
motivation
turned
is,
him
I
into a
hate
vampire,
Alucard
right?
and I want him to die, so I'm gonna play my entire
Okay,
life around
yeah.
killing him.
So I felt like they kept showing us a different character that also had the strings or whatever
Mhm.
that looked like that character. So when it finally showed up, I was like, oh, we're finally going to find out what this guy is. It's like, oh, that's Walter? That's the Walter? Like, Jesus Christ. I really? Like, this whole time, it's just been like, he's been showing his dark side without doing anything, and I thought it was a whole different character. And then all of a sudden, Alucard turns into a little girl. Do you remember that? With the
That was
bangs?
hilarious. He dies as a little girl. Isn't that great?
That was Alucard's form in the 40s.
Wait, what? That was his form? I thought he just absorbed that someone from the Dawn. Like, I remember there's a preview to like the next episode that implied or something.
No, he was the little girl in the 40s. If I am remembering correctly.
No, he wasn't, because you see him fighting the Nazis, right? As Alucard.
Yeah, she looked like the Nazi
Walter's the younger
scientist
one in the
boss or
40s.
something, and he absorbed
Yeah, and
her.
he's wearing like a white suit for some reason. I think it's because the Valentine brother started becoming a greater presence inside of him or whatever, and he took on that form that was like a young girl. It was so weird. Anyway, I bet the manga's better.
Is it any different, Rhys? Like, does it end that way and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read in quite a while. I mean, I sold all of it to Lishansky just to make room.
Lishansky, please leave us a detailed note in the comments.
I sold it all just to make room because I was like, I'll probably never read this again. I'll sell it just because just make
Pass
room
it
on
on.
the shelf.
But like, it was how faithful? It was pretty faithful.
Pretty much exactly the same. I mean, I read it after watching the series.
Did everyone have a Thule grin of "I'm a badass" the whole
For the
manga?
most part, even the song, like that one song in the 5th episode, like Akumastaki, do 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 do, Akumastaki, do 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 do. You know that one?
The manga?
It was in the manga, yeah. So it was kind of funny.
So I'm going to say this. I really like the localization for it. Say what you will about anything else. I thought most of the characters in Ultimate, like in the original Hellsing, Crispin Freeman's the only thing holding that show together, right? But in Ultimate, like, Anderson's amazing. Even Saris is way better in Ultimate than she was in the original.
Saris doesn't have an accent in real life, because I thought, well, why else would they? For some reason, I thought they outsourced a British studio or something.
Right.
Like Integra's voice actor's British accent, but Saris isn't. So I'm like, what?
Well, I really
apparently
liked
it fooled me.
the bit with the Sieg Heil that we were talking about. I really loved the Auf Wiedersehens that they said to Rip Van Winkle, which weren't in the Japanese, right? I really loved that they gave all of the Nazis these German accents and they made them say German phrases, right? Those are all things that I very much loved about the localization. And back in the day when I first started like really getting into collecting anime, I would always make it a point, if a show was like Azumanga Daioh, where it's like takes place in Japan, Japanese school, I would always watch it in Japanese. I mean, I watched it in both languages, but I would give it a shot at first in Japanese. But if a show was like Gunslinger Girl or something where it takes place in like an English-speaking area, particularly if they had accents, like in London or whatever, or let's say Australia or whatever, I would always watch it in English. And I always loved when the localization would give them accents, because the Japanese ones didn't give them accents. Yeah, exactly. Bakano, perfect example. And so I very much appreciated the localization and the effort that went into throwing in all those German phrases. And German is not an easy accent to pull off while acting, right? It's easy to pull off as a joke, right? But
Right.
as an act for actual acting, I don't think it's very easy to pull off. And I thought that each one of the characters was damn good. You know, the Major was excellent. Schrodinger was great. That one guy didn't talk at
Laura
all.
Bailey was awesome in Schrodinger.
Unbelievable. She is amazing. She has always been so underrated. She's
Right.
Toru in Fruits Baskets and Shin-Chan. You know, like that girl
Hey,
has range.
I've always
She's
thought
also
she was
Lost
great.
in Fullmetal Alchemist,
Mhm.
by the way, and Maka and Soul Eater.
Laura
Dude.
Bailey, what is it?
She has one of my favorite voices.
She was also Rhys in Persona 4, which is partially why I loved her, and I hated it when they replaced her voice in a subsequent spin-off game. But Laura Bailey, I hate how she voiced Schrodinger because she sounds extra cute and great, but you know, Schrodinger cat is a guy. I mean, yeah, I know. I'm just saying that that's not a waifu, but it's Laura Bailey, so it's really hard to not consider it a waifu. They could have made
did
it.
she voice Abby? Yeah, she's.
Yes, she did.
She's. That's what I was gonna say. She's Abby in Last of Us 2.
Just imagine hearing.
Oh, I forgot
as
about
Laura
that.
Bailey.
I remember the Team 4 start the abridged make fun of like what you just brought up, FTM. The Return of the Y Boner. when Schrodinger shows
Sorry,
up.
Like they abridged what?
No.
Last of Us 2?
Alucard when Schrodinger shows up in episode 4, Alucard says, "Ah, yes, the Return of the Y Boner with the vengeance."
So anyway, yeah, I will give it props on every aspect except for story. I really
It's incredibly fun. That's all I need to say about it.
Not really. There's a lot of really long, drawn-out parts that you're like,
yeah.
I'm
So
going to KMS.
I can see why you guys like an abridged version of it because I feel
Well, they're cutting out all the drunk. I don't know how they abridge it. There's so many serious moments that like ruin
they're
character
actually
moments.
from what I briefly looked at some of the abridged stuff, and they animated their own scenes for some of it. Like
Team
not
4-Star
particularly well, but they clearly created their own art assets to tell some of the stories. So they had like a Christmas one or whatever.
That was a one-off thing. That was only one time that they did that.
Well, regardless, that's
They did it.
what one I saw. So I'm just saying, like, anyway. So yeah, I've got work in the morning. Thank you guys for joining us. I wanted to make sure that we took advantage of the fact that I had those extra days off, even though it felt like we just did a show because of my job interview that threw off the last episode. But yeah, I'm glad we got this one out there, and hopefully I can get started on Black Lagoon as soon as possible.
So, what's the proposed plan of what we will be covering for next podcast? Just the first 12 episodes?
Well, if we're doing the last episodes, will that include Robert's Blood Trail, or is that one something we should do third?
Season 1 and 2 are 24 episodes total. So season 1 is 12 episodes, season 2 is 12 episodes. Robert's Blood Trail is 5 episodes, but the longer episodes are like basically seven episodes essentially.
I put the entirety of the show in the description for the affiliate links. Which for anybody who hasn't decided which version of the show to get, just buy the premium because it's the only way. It's the only way.
Buy the premium. That's like $500.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way to get the show in a nice format. Where actually, I think you can buy the Blu-ray, the one that's labeled classic but doesn't say classic on top. That's the Blu-ray of season 1 and 2, and then you could buy the Blu-ray DVD combo of Roberta's Blood Trail.
No, dude, you have this so wrong. The classic comes with all of it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
not from what I saw.
The combo set for season 1 and 2.
Okay. Is the one that doesn't have
It was originally released as a classics. It had the sticker on it that said Anime Classics on it.
Here's the thing.
Hey, we missed one Right Stuff release. One called My Sex Tutor.
I was going to bring that up, but yeah, you can't show that.
Okay,
Go check that out on your own time, fans.
so Rhys, can you put
Black
the
Lagoon,
link on
exactly
screen
what you
share?
thought.
I'm fairly certain the classics, they updated it to be a real complete collection.
Okay,
So that's
so-
what's on Blu-ray.
complete box set. Where's the Blu-ray?
The Blu-ray DVD combo season 1 and 2.
I really want to point out that the Black Lagoon limited edition.
Okay.
That
I'm not
is
talking
one of-
about this one.
No.
Okay, because this has the classics band.
Hmm.
There's another one. It's this one, the Anime Classics Blu-ray and DVD combo.
Mm-hmm.
This one
Yep.
does not say classics on it,
It,
but it
it,
doesn't.
when it
does
was
not come
originally
with-
released, it had a sticker on it that said
Right.
that was the
But
the
the
black
point
and
is that you can get
yeah.
rid of the sticker so it doesn't look like ass in your collection.
except
this one-
except this is the one that it's got the filler thing on top of the slip cover.
Oh,
So
so
it's
it's not
DVD height.
Blu-ray. Well, then fuck it. You have to get the premium edition. It's the best way to own the show.
No, it sucks. It has no end label, and it's not even a
I
good
agree.
ammo
It
box.
sucks, but it's still better than
No,
better.
having Roberta's Blood Trail or having the stupid classics thing there. This show has been royally fucked over with
The
release.
classics will give you the band. If you want, I
And-
can
and
sell
the
you
thing
my
is-
custom Black Lagoon Anime Classics, this version, that has the thing
the thing
chopped
that-
off.
The thing that sucks is that there's no DVD release for Roberta's Blood Trail except for the Blu-ray DVD combo.
Which is out
That's
of
a
print.
Rhys problem.
So all of these are Blu-ray height.
Yeah.
So you're fucked no matter which way you do it. That's why I say the premium edition is
Which
the
is
best
still
way
Blu-ray
to.
only.
Yeah, but at least you're going to get it all in one place in a comfortable pace.
That's
Dude, you might as well get the classics, because who cares if it has a little classics thing on the side you don't even see in your collection, because you
plus
see the
that
spine.
big ass box takes up 3 spaces.
Probably. Yeah, 3 or 4.
The ammo box.
Well, I'm just suggesting.
Yeah.
This is so what I have. If you guys wanted to know what I have, I've
Show us.
got the premium edition, and I've got the season 1 and season 2 steelbooks, which are DVD
nice.
only. So
From Genion.
I've got this box set, and I love the steelbooks. I just wish they were Blu-ray. So I've got this box set, and then I've got the season 2 box set.
That's not it.
It's a real cuckening that it's like, God, it has a beautiful steelbook, but like it's like the Dragon Ball Z movies as well. Because it's like,
Dude,
I could get the
They
steelbook.
did
That's
limited
nice.
editions the same as they did for the Hellsing Ultimate with the steelbooks for this show. But the problem is that they didn't release all of them because Genio went out of business while it was being released, and Funimation took over. So
What does the limited edition include for Black Lagoon?
I don't know what's different about it other than it being a steelbook.
Mhm.
I
I
think
mean,
they were
Genion
literally just.
Genion did do a complete series release.
If I'm not wrong,
I
I
didn't
think
see
I
it.
own
Oh, wait,
that out of print Black Lagoon one.
This one.
I bought mine a long time ago. I'm not looking at it. I'm again.
So you're
And
saying
off.
Genion did do a complete set, or actually, I think Funimation did the complete sets. This one,
No, it says Genion on the box.
okay, but it was actually released by Funimation, I believe.
That one.
See, Funimation Entertainment.
Hey, I have that one.
But this one is, but again, this is just Black Lagoon and the
Impact.
Second Barrage, not Roberta's Blood Trail.
Right.
So anyway, regarding your question, I texted my coworker who had work today because I'm going in tomorrow because we're taking out 2 trucks. And if I get the job that I interviewed for at the other place, that's going to start on the 16th. So it's going to go, I'm going to work Wednesday through Saturday this week, then Tuesday through Saturday next week, and then Monday through Friday at the new job. And then that following Saturday, because it's the last two truck route, and this should be the busiest month for my current job. And then I'll have just Sunday off, and I'll go back to work on Monday. So things are going to get a little wonky coming up, but that's if I get this job, which I probably will. But
I mean, we could probably just watch all of it and do one discussion.
right. I expect us to do that, but the thing is, this is what I'm trying to get at. I texted my coworker to ask him about something to do with the truck because I wanted to make sure nobody forgot about something that is going to be a real pain in the ass if I don't have a certain part on there tomorrow. But anyway, I texted him, and he was still at the yard at 5 p.m. Because we get so many one-timers during summer months because people's cans start to smell really bad. They get maggots and whatnot. And last month I had the first 2 weeks of the month, like the reason we did 4 Hellsing Ultimate Watch Club podcasts is because I didn't have any time to watch it at all for 2 straight weeks. So I'm expecting this week coming up and the week after to be even worse. Okay. However, Black Lagoon isn't hour long, right? So if I will be able to get through the episodes a little bit, like I can chip away at them a little bit easier.
Right.
And I've already seen this entire series and I loved it, right? So I'm expecting it to be a lot easier to get through.
Speaking of, I got an
A
idea
refresher.
for the podcast title for season 1 if we split them up.
Okay.
She's taking it in the ass.
Oh my god, yes! She's taking
Alucarded?
it up the ass?
No.
Yep.
Revi says that when Bella Lyca is reviewing footage at the brothel.
Yeah,
Wait,
she's looking at the
she take it in the
isn't it?
ass?
Anyway, all right. Well,
Rock is over there like, what in the world?
We'll decide that when the time comes.
And Bella Lyca's got this look on his face like, just kill me right now, please.
Because isn't she watching kids in that?
I can't remember.
They're the twins.
No, I
No,
don't think
no.
that's-
This is an
that's a
different.
different,
Like,
that's a
I think
different,
it was
that's a
in
different
episode
situation
7 or
altogether.
something.
All
No,
right, well,
those kids,
When they're running
that's a totally different situation.
God, we've dragged this out like 40 minutes past. Anyway, so
dude,
so we'll discuss this.
Say goodnight. It's time.
We'll discuss this another time.
Bye.
So
Okay.
anyway, yeah. So bottom line is, I'm gonna try to be watching it like piece by piece, but we aren't gonna do the watch club for probably like 3 weeks, and then we probably won't even have a podcast at that 3rd week or maybe that'll be the 2nd week actually, because I'll be working. No, it'll be the 3rd week because I'll be working 6 days a week that week, right? So. Anyway, it's going to be kind of rough, but hopefully everything kind of falls into place. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll catch you guys next time. Unless you guys want to keep talking, and I'll just leave.
Goodbye, everyone.
That was a question. Rhys, FDM, do you guys want to keep going, or do you want me to end it?
You can end it. I gotta go to bed.
All right, I'll talk to you guys next time.